Got my blood rushing.
I don't. Yeah, I don't doubt that they're good.
Ooh, Cha-Cha, I must finish it off.
It's horrifying. All right.
Is everybody ready?
Oh yeah.
I am ready.
I'm looking.
Okay.
Is there a way to highlight things in this webpage?
No, that sucks.
Yeah, somebody came to this.
I had to circle things, and I'm not gonna make
Where
it
it's your
circle.
I printed it off and then I highlighted.
Look at you with a printer.
I know. I
Some
got
of
you.
us don't have
Actually.
printers. We have to. Yeah.
You want?
for
I have an
you.
extra printer. You want one?
No, I have one. It's just at the bottom of some stairs.
Oh.
And yeah, I'm not the sort that navigates stairs super well. If you, I don't know if I told you that before, but
I kind of guessed.
all right. Are we good to? Okay. I think I'm good to
Everybody
go.
ready?
Yeah. All right.
Fade in. Hibernating groundhogs. A family of groundhogs is nestled together in the burrow, sleeping off the end of a long winter. Roll credits and theme music. Weatherman, you're my weatherman. Yeah. Dissolve 2. Exterior, forest clearing, early morning. The crust of an old snowfall still covers the frozen ground. The bare, icy branches of a tree glisten dully in the early morning light. Cut 2. Interior, TV studio, same time. Bill Connors is standing by in front of a green wall, gesticulating, animated at some invisible images on the wall, talking a mile a minute. He looks completely crazy as he points at nothing and winks to an unseen audience. Cut 2. Exterior, Western Pennsylvania, same time. Credits continue as we streak across the winter landscape, flying over fields and farms, small towns and hamlets, railroad lines and interstates, coal yards and factories, till we cross the Allegheny River and follow it to the southwest. Cut 2. Interior, TV studio, same time. Phil continues pointing out the features on the blank wall. But from a new angle, we can see that he's looking at the monitor out of the corner of his eye, which shows the chroma key insert. He's pointing to a national weather map. Cut 2. Exterior, near Pittsburgh, same time. The country towns turn to suburbs, traffic on the roads gets heavier, and finally we see the skyline of Pittsburgh and the confluence of the Allegheny with the other river in the Ohio. We zoom in the tall building in the downtown area and dissolve 2. Interior, Phil Connor's office, morning. We don't see anyone at first, but the office itself speaks volumes about the inhabitants. Team pictures of the Steelers from the Franco Harris, Terry Bradshaw glory years, a framed memorial portrait of Roberto Clemente, a local Emmy statue, an erasable weather map, and mountains of personal junk on the desk, windowsill, and other available surfaces. As the credit ends, we notice a sleeping figure on the small sofa, buried deep under a pile of coats and a stolen airline blanket. Gil Haley, executive producer of the Action News, sticks his head in the door.
Christ, what a pit, Phil.
The sleeping figure rouses himself and looks up at Haley. It's Phil, the Channel 9's Action News weatherman.
What?
It's February 1st, Phil. You know what tomorrow is?
Phil sits up and thinks hard. He's in his mid-30s, smart, rugged looking, perhaps a little too full of himself, but clearly a guy with a lot of personality.
Oh no, not again.
He jumps up and exits the office with Haley right behind him.
Forget it, I'm not going.
Interior, corridor, continuous. Haley pursues Phil through the office suite of Channel 9 Action News. From the look of it, a typical big city local news operation. The logo on the wall identifies the station as WPGH, Pittsburgh. Phil ducks into the studio. Interior, studio, continuous. Haley follows him in and catches up with him at the weather corner of Action News set. Phil starts putting weather stats on the chart.
Get away from me, I'm working.
What's the outlook? We gonna get that blizzard?
Phil shakes his head and points to the chart, which is headed Phil's forecast, the PH. with cute character of him drawn next to the title.
No way. All that moisture coming up from the Gulf is going to miss us completely and take a dump on Harrisburg.
Good, because you're going up to Punxsutawney to cover the Groundhog story tomorrow morning, and I want you back here in time to do the 5.
Jesus, Gil, give me a break, will you? I covered the goddamn Groundhog last year and the year before that.
And you'll do it next year and the year after too. When I worked in San Diego, I covered the swallows coming back to Capistrano for 10 years in a row.
You should have killed the guy who made you do that.
I wanted to do it.
Then you should have killed yourself. I don't want to get stuck with the Groundhog for the rest of my life.
It's a cute story. He comes out, he looks around, he wrinkles up his little nose, sniffs around a little. He sees a shadow, he doesn't see a shadow. It's nice. People like it.
Many people are morons.
Just do it.
What will you give me?
Haley looks across the studio and sees Rita Hansen enter, a very attractive segment producer in her late 20s.
I'll give you Rita. Rita, could you come out here for a second? I got a little job for you.
Rita is relatively new to the station, but very competent, personable, humorous, self-assured, and very pretty. In short, a genuine princess, though Phil is too self-absorbed at this point to realize it.
You can't send Rita out on a story like this. She's just a cub, a pup, still wet behind the ears. Look at her. Her ears are sopping wet. This needs a Woodard or a Bernstein. It's a big story. People need to know.
What's the story?
The Punxsutawney Groundhog Festival.
Gil, if it's all right with you, I'd rather follow up on the nurses' strike.
You can do the nurses when you get back. Just take the squeaky wheel here up to Punxsutawney and get them back in one piece, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Holly exits, leaving Phil and Rita alone in the studio. She knows Phil mainly by his reputation, and it isn't good. Still, she finds him appealing in an odd way.
You know, this could be extremely interesting.
I've never done a weather story before. What's Punxsutawney like?
Oh, it's an enchanted place, a magical world. It's the Constantinople of the whole Western Appalachian Susquehanna drainage system.
Do you always joke?
About 70 to 80% of the time. Inside, I'm actually a very shy and sensitive person.
A lot of people around here think you're not very sincere.
Tell me the names of these people.
I'll line up a crew and transportation. If you don't feel like driving, we can all go up in the van together.
I think I'll take my own car. I'm not that fond of my fellow man.
Nice attitude.
Nice face. Why don't you ride up with me?
No thanks.
Stephanie Discastro, an attractive, dark-eyed, dark-haired correspondent, glares at Phil from across the studio. Interior, Phil's office later. Phil is in his cluttered cubicle talking on a headset phone while he reviews cassettes of his groundhog spots from the past 2 years on a small monitor. As he talks, he stuffs a number of personal items in an overnight bag, all the time watching himself on the TV monitor.
They don't really think of me as a weatherman around here, more of a personality, but with the credibility of a first-class broadcast journalist. Once you look at my tape, I think you'll see what they mean.
Stephanie enters and stands in the doorway looking at Phil for a long moment. There's something vaguely off-center about this woman. Not quite fatal attraction, but a little bit scary.
I just want to know one thing. Did I do something wrong, or are you just tired of me, or what? I have to know.
Phil sighs.
Dan, can I call you back? I've just been handed something and I better get on it. Okay, thanks.
He takes off the headset, gets up, and closes the door for privacy.
You didn't do anything wrong, Stephanie, and I'm not tired of you. It's just that I don't have time for a real relationship right now. I told you that the first time we went out.
Everybody says that at the beginning of a relationship.
I'm different. I really meant it. Things are really starting to move for me now. I'm not going to be doing the weather for the rest of my life. I was just talking to the CBS guy about a network job. I want that. This is just the beginning for me, and I can't waste any more time.
Are you saying our relationship is a waste of time?
Our relationship? We went out a total of 4 times, and only twice did anything happen. It was fun, but I don't see that as a big commitment.
I had our charts done. My astrologer says we're extremely compatible. There may even be some past lives involvement here.
See, so we've already done this. Let's move on. Next case.
You know what's wrong with you, Phil? You're selfish. You don't have time for anyone but yourself.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't want to be with me. You can do better. Look, Stephanie, if I ever said or did anything to mislead you, I'm sorry for that. But right now I have to do this groundhog thing and I don't have a handle on it yet.
He throws some papers in his date book into a briefcase and puts on his jacket.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to do some serious thinking while I'm in Puxatawny, okay?
He pats her on the shoulder and brushes past her, leaving her standing there in a malevolent look on her face. Cut 2. Exterior, a highway, afternoon. A van marked Channel 9 Action News speeds along a 2-lane highway through the winter landscape of west central Pennsylvania. Mounted to the top of the van is a micro transmitter. Rita is riding up front with Larry, the union cameraman and techie. Phil is following close behind the van in a new Lexus coupe. His car has a bumper sticker that reads, "Weathermen like it wet."
God. I'm on my way to Puxatawny. Puxatawny. Work or fun, I think that all depends on you.
Interior, the Lexus, continuous. Phil is talking to one of his girlfriends, sorting through a stack of CDs. As usual, grabbing at the good life with both hands.
I thought maybe you could meet me up there tonight and let me vulgarize you for about 7 hours. So I'm supposed to spend the night alone in Puxatawny? Thanks.
Phil loads a CD and a great driving song kicks in. Cut 2, a sign. Welcome to Puxatawny, the original weather capital of the world since 1887. Depicted on the sign is a large cartoon groundhog, wearing a top hat and clutching an umbrella under his arm. The mini convoy passes some fast food places on the outskirts of town. Exterior, Main Street, Puxatawny, later. The van drives along the small town main drag. There are cartoon groundhogs everywhere you look, and the whole town has been gaily festooned with banners and bunting. Exterior, motel, later. The van pulls into the dark parking lot at a Quality Inn. The announcement billboard in front of the hotel reads, Groundhog Day Breakfast Special, February 2nd. All you can eat, $5.99. The parking area is already crowded with cars, including a number of other news vans. Alexis pulls in behind the van. Everyone gets out. Bill takes one look at the motel and shakes his head.
Rita, I can't stay here.
Rita is already helping Larry unload equipment from the van.
Prima donnas.
It's okay. I'll handle it.
She crosses to Alexis, where Phil is trying to make another call on his earphone.
What's the problem, Phil?
I hate this place. I stayed here 2 years ago and I was miserable. It's like a minimum security prison. I'm not staying here.
You're not staying here.
I'm not?
No, Larry and I don't care, but I thought you might, so I booked you at a very nice bed and breakfast on Cherry Street. Here's the address.
She hands him a card.
Great. That's great. That's the mark of a really good producer, making the talent happy.
Whatever I can do.
I hate this line. Really? Will you be my love slave?
Whatever I can do within reason. Would you like to have dinner with Larry and me?
No, thanks. I've seen Larry eat. Why don't you ditch Larry and let me take you someplace nice?
You mean like a date?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, I get it. You're a little intimidated by me. You're all excited about the shoot tomorrow. You want everything to go just perfect. I understand. You just get some sleep. Tomorrow will be great.
Well, that's something to look forward to. I'll see you in the morning.
He drives off, leaving her standing there shaking her head.
Did he actually call himself the talent?
Larry snorts and continues unloading his gear. Cut 2. Exterior, Cherry Street, dawn. The first light of the morning colors of the sky behind Cherry Street Inn. A rambling, white Victorian bed and breakfast. Close up, clock. A digital clock radio changes from 5:59 to 6 a.m. The radio comes on, playing the end of the Sonny and Hit share, I Got You Babe. Super, February 2nd. Interior, Phil's room, dawn. Phil sits up in bed and looks around the room. The decor is typical bed and breakfast. Flock wallpaper, framed prints, and an odd assortment of mismatched furniture. His suit is hanging neatly on the back of the closet door, and his suitcase is open on a stand at the foot of the bed, still neatly packed. Radio DJ and his sidekick come on with hyped Drive time, chappy talk. Phil stares at the radio and listens to them.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today.
Phil grimaces and swings out of bed.
It's cold out there every day. What is this, Miami Beach?
The DJ laughs. Phil shakes his head at the cheesy repartee. He crosses the sink and starts brushing his teeth.
Not hardly, and you can expect hazardous travel later today with that, blizzard thing.
That blizzard thing?
Phil splashes some water in his face and prepares to shave.
Oh, here's a report. The National Weather Service is calling for a big blizzard thing.
Yes, they are, but there's another special reason today is very special.
Especially cold.
Especially cold, okay. But the big question on everyone's lips...
Chapped lips.
On their chapped lips, right. Do you think Phil's gonna come out and see his shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Phil looks up at himself in the mirror, admiring his own face.
That's right, rodent lovers. It's Groundhog Day.
Sound effect of grunting groundhog. Phil grunts at his reflection in the mirror.
Never again.
Cut 2. Interior corridor. Phil heads for the breakfast room of the inn. Now well dressed in a suit and tie, a nice overcoat slung out his arm. A chubby man passes.
Morning.
Morning.
Think it'll be an early spring?
I'm predicting March 21st.
Cut 2. Interior breakfast room, continuous. Phil enters the old library of the house, now set up with a breakfast buffet. An old spinet piano stands in the corner. One wall is lined with bookcases filled with books. A handful of guests are seated around the room eating. The matron of the house, Mrs. Lancaster, spots Phil as she comes out of the kitchen with a fresh pot of coffee.
Did you sleep well, Mr. Connors?
Like a Romanian orphan, Mrs. Lancaster.
Would you like some coffee?
I don't suppose it'd be possible to get an espresso or a cappuccino around here?
I don't really know.
Forget it. This'll be fine.
I wonder what the weather's going to be like for all the festivities.
My guess is it'll be cold and overcast, high today in the low 30s, dropping in the low 20s tonight. But I'm predicting that all that moisture coming up from the Gulf is going to miss us and dump some locally heavy snow, possibly blizzard conditions, with travel advisories in the Harrisburg area and maybe as far east as Philadelphia. You want to talk weather, or you ask the right guy?
He heads for the door.
Oh, will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
Unfortunately, yes.
Phil exits. Cut 2. Exterior, boarding house, moments later. Sipping at the steaming coffee, Phil manages to put on coat and gloves as he descends the front steps of the house, enjoying the flow of pedestrian traffic on the street. Exterior, Main Street, Punxsutawney, continuous. There are a lot of people on the street for this hour. Traffic is so heavy, in fact, the pedestrians are moving faster than the cars. Everyone seems to be going in the same direction, making an annual trip to see the groundhog. An old bum is sitting on the sidewalk, leaning against a storefront. Somebody throws him a coin. Phil walks by without taking any notice. Hey, Phil. A big pie-faced man, Ned Ryerson, comes up huffing and puffing right up to him. There's something about this man that makes us just like him on sight. I think you're muted, Patrick.
God bless. Phil? Phil Connors, I thought that was you.
Phil looks at him vaguely.
I'm sorry, have we,
Oh my, Phil Connors, don't you say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck I remember you.
Phil stares, trying to remember.
Ned Ryerson. Ned Ryerson! Needle-nose Ned the head. Come on, buddy. Case Western High.
Ned?
I see you clicking that brain of yours. Click, 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 click. Bing! Ned Ryerson did the whistling trick with my belly button in the talent show. Bing! Ned Ryerson got the shingles real bad senior year. Almost didn't graduate. Bing again. Ned Ryerson went out with their sister Mary Pat a couple times till you told me not to anymore. Well,
Ned Ryerson.
Bing!
So what are you doing with yourself, Ned?
Phil, I sell insurance.
No kidding.
Do you have life insurance, Phil? Because if you do, I bet you could use some more. You couldn't. Am I right or am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Right. Right.
You know, Ned, I'd love to talk to you, but I really have to.
That's okay. I'll walk with you. When I see an opportunity, I charge it like a bull. Ned the Bull, that's me now. Some of my friends live and die by arcurial tables, but I don't think it's all a crapshoot anywho. But I think it's all a crapshoot anywho. Ever heard of a single premium life? That could be the ticket for you, buddy. God, it's good to see you. Hey, what are you doing for dinner?
Dinner, I don't think that's going to work for me.
As they continue walking, Phil steps into something that looks like a shallow puddle and ends up eight ankle deep in wet slush. Ned laughs like a donkey.
Hey, look out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Phil looks at him with murderous contempt. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. The big crowd is standing in the park-like clearing of the residential street. They're gathered around a large mound of dirt enclosed by a rail fence, waiting for the big moment. There's the atmosphere of the festival nearby. An area close to the mound is roped off for news reporters and cameras. Rita stands there, a pocket of genuine beauty in this sea of pot-bellied old union guys and blow-dried reporters. Stomping her feet against the cold, Rita looks at her watch and glances around. Larry, the cameraman, just looks forward.
How could he be late?
Prima donnas.
It's just so inconsiderate.
What happens to some people? They're born nice. They grow up nice. You put them TV and ham, prima donnas.
Rita spots Phil heading into the crowd.
Oh, here he comes. Phil! Hey, Phil, over here.
Phil joins them in the press area. Rita pulls him to his mark near the rail fence.
Where have you been?
I got hung up with some jerk I went to high school with. So did you sleep okay without me? You tossed and turned, didn't you?
Rita holds up the slate for Larry to ID the tape.
You're incredible.
Who told you?
Ready when you are.
Phil takes the microphone from Rita and positions it up against the fence. The Groundhog Club officials in top hat, striped trousers, and cutaway coats parade out to the burrow that houses Puxatawny Phil.
Looks like they're starting. Roll tape.
Rolling.
Rita silently counts down from 5 and cues Phil, who instantly snaps into announce mode.
Once a year, the eyes of the nation turn here to this tiny hamlet in Pennsylvania to watch a master at work. The master? Puxatawny Phil, the world's most famous weatherman, the Groundhog, who, as legend has it, can predict the coming of an early spring.
Rita turns to Larry. This is impressive. So far, so good. The Groundhog Club officials kneel at the burrow and ceremoniously knock on the small wooden door. Then it opens and retreats.
And here's the big moment we've all been waiting for. Let's just see what Mr. Groundhog has to say.
The groundhog sticks his head out, looks around, steps out of the hole, and runs over to the other side of the mountain, about as far away from the cameras as we can get.
Hey, over here, you little weasel.
Larry zooms in as far as he can, but the best he can manage is the close-up of the groundhog's back. The groundhog stands there a moment, his body casting a long shadow, and he lets out a squeak and runs back into the hole.
Great shot, huh, folks? Well, that was certainly worth the trip. Now we'll be hearing from Mr. Buster Green, president of the Puxatawny Groundhog Club, the so-called seer of seers, who will interpret for us.
Buster Green, dressed in his best top hat and cutaway coat, walks in the mound and hushes the crowd.
He came out, he saw his shadow. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it looks like it's gonna be a long winter.
The crowd lets out a good-natured "ah."
Oh.
Oh.
Well, well, that's it. Sorry you couldn't be here in person to share the electric moment. This is one event where television really fails to capture the excitement of thousands of people gathered to watch a large squirrel predict the weather. And I, for one, am deeply grateful to have been a part of it. Reporting for Channel 9, this is Phil Connors.
Larry cuts the camera.
Want to try one that's a little sweeter?
That's as sweet as I get. I'm out of here.
As he exits, Phil tosses the mic to Larry. He wasn't expecting the throw and bobbles it, dropping the mic on the ground. Cut 2. Interior diner. Phil is sitting alone having a cup of coffee in a busy, loud, and lively diner. Rita enters, seeing him sitting there, crosses the table, and sits down across from him.
That was really lousy.
Is it my fault the little rat went south on us?
A real professional would have handled it. You acted like it was a personal insult. Who do you think you are, Wolf Blitzer?
God, you really take this stuff seriously, don't you?
Yes, I do. As far as I'm concerned, there are no little stories, Phil. Only little reporters with big egos who think they're too good for the job they have to do.
You really don't know me very well, do you? Because if you did, you could never say something like that about me. I care. Call me a cockeyed optimist, but I happen to think there's more to this job than just getting my ugly mug on the boob tube every night.
Is that so?
Yes, that is so.
Rita is so irritated by him that she can't even respond. Phil looks at her evenly for a long moment.
So as far as us getting together, would you say the glass is half empty or half full?
Larry pokes his head in the doorway, looks around, spots Rita, and makes his way over to the table.
You ready? We better get going if we're gonna get ahead of the weather.
You don't have to rush off, you know. The storm is going to miss us completely.
Nice working with you, Phil. See you around.
Rita walks away, leaving him sitting alone. Cut 2. Exterior highway. Day. Phil's Lexus is driving along the highway. Light snow is just starting to fall.
I'll call you after I see the network guy. I should be back there in a couple of hours. What? I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Hello? Sabrina.
Interior of the car. Continuous. Phil is getting annoyed as the phone connection deteriorates. The snow is getting heavier. Phil switches on the windshield wipers.
Sabrina, can you hear me? Shit.
He slams the phone back into his cradle and looks up and notices slow traffic up ahead. He honks the horn as the traffic comes to a complete stop. He keeps honking, but nothing moves. He rolled down the window and looks up ahead. The highway is a parking lot.
No.
Exterior, the car, continuous. Phil jumps out and begins walking down the highway, past the parked cars, shivering in his light sweater and soaked sport shirt. The snowfall is getting heavier and the wind is picking up. Small snow comes down unnaturally hard and fast. He walks on, slipping and sliding in his expensive loafers, until he comes to the police roadblock up ahead, manned by 2 highway patrolmen.
What's going on, officer?
Nothing's going on. We're closing the road. Big accident up ahead. Blizzard's moving in.
What blizzard? It's a couple of flakes, an isolated phenomenon in nature.
Are you nuts? We got a major storm moving in.
No, all this moisture is gonna miss us and hit Harrisburg.
Hell, you got that moisture on your head.
But I have to get to Pittsburgh today.
Mister, the only place anybody's on this road's going is back to Punxsutawney.
Phil glowers at him and shivers. Cut 2. Interior gas station. Later. Phil is on the payphone. Snow is falling heavily outside. Gas station attendant is shoveling around the pumps.
So all the long distance lines are down? What about the satellite? Is it snowing in space? But I have to call Pittsburgh. Isn't there some special line you keep open for emergencies or for celebrities? Well, I'm both, really. I'm a celebrity in an emergency. Can you patch me through on that line?
The door opens and Phil is blasted with frigid Arctic wind and blowing snow. The gas station attendant enters the tiny office and, trying to squeeze past Phil, accidentally bangs him on the head with a shovel. Cut 2. Interior hotel bar, evening. Phil is at the bar in Punxsutawney's oldest and best hotel, the Pennsylvania. Looks very bored, drinking a beer, unsuccessfully hustling an attractive-looking local girl named Nancy.
You never saw me on TV. On the news?
I don't think so. What part of the news do you do?
I'm the White House correspondent for NBC News.
Oh, I'm not so sure.
Ask me anything.
Okay, how big is the White House?
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Looks much bigger than it is.
Nancy just stares at him, clearly not into his sense of humor. Suddenly, a bride in a full white wedding gown and a veil rushes into the bar, crying and shouting. A gaggle of bridesmaids flutter around her, trying to coax her back into her own wedding, but she won't budge. Then the groom, wearing a bad wrench tuxedo, comes storming in and tries to drag her back, till the best man restrains him and the bridesmaids hustle the bride away. Phil watches the whole drama plays out, then turns back to Nancy.
Good start. I'm sure they'll be very happy. So what do you say? You want to play doggy obedience school with me? What does that mean?
Thanks. I'll pass.
She gets up to leave.
Sit. Stay.
He watches her go, then tosses a tip on the bar and exits somewhat unsteadily. Cut 2. Insert a thick book. The cover reads 101 curses, spells, and enchantment you can do at home. A well-manicured feminine hand opens the book to a marked page. Interior, Cherry Street Inn, night, same time. Phil enters the room and drunkenly tosses his overcoat, scarf, and gloves on the floor in a heap. Interior, Stephanie's bedroom, night. Stephanie DeCastro, Phil's disaffected ex-lover, sitting in cross-legged on the floor with a book of curses open in front of her. Her hair is down. She's wearing a caftan with a zodiac print. There are candles everywhere and other vaguely occult decorating touches. Insert. Phil's business card is dropped into a dish. Then the tarot card of a hangman, a chicken bone, and a feather are placed on top of it. Phil, he stands at the sink, looking at himself in the mirror. He flexes his muscle. Stephanie, reading from the book, she mutters incantations in a secret language, and she sprinkles some powder on the plate and a few drops of oil. And she makes a few passes over it with her hands. Much to her surprise, the contents of the plate spontaneously combust. Phil, as he crosses to the bed, he accidentally knocks over the suitcase stand, spilling his clothes out onto the floor. He contemplates picking them up for a moment, decides to leave them there, and flop down on the bed. He lies there looking up at the ceiling until the room starts to spin around. Then he closes his eyes and quickly drops off to sleep, still fully clothed. Stephanie. To complete the spell, she picks up a broken wristwatch and drops it into the fire. Insert. Phil's business card, the hangman and the broken watch in flames. The watch crystal is cracked, and the hands are frozen at 5:59. Dissolve 2. Close up, clock. The digital clock radio changes from 5:59 to 6 a.m. The radio comes on, playing the end of the Sonny and Cher hit, I Got You Babe, just as it did the day before. Interior, Phil's room, dawn. Phil sits up in bed, quickly alert, and looks around the room. Something is wrong. He's wearing pajamas. The suit is once again hanging neatly on the closet door. The suitcase is back on its stand at the foot of the bed, again neatly packed. The song ends, and the same radio DJ and his sidekick come on with the same manic energy. Phil stares at the radio and listens to them. A look of astonishment comes over his face as they banter.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties because it's a cold one out there today.
It's cold out there every day. What is this, Miami Beach?
The DJ laughs. Phil mock laughs at exactly the same time, recognizing the tape from the previous morning.
Nice going, guys. That's yesterday's tape.
Phil crosses the sink and gets the towel off the rack, only half listening to the radio.
Not hardly. Expect hazardous travel later today with that, blizzard thing.
That blizzard thing?
Phil turns on the water and splashes some on his face as if trying to wake himself up, vaguely disturbed by the repetition of the broadcast.
Oh, here's the report. The National Weather Service is calling for a big blizzard thing.
Yes, they are, but there's another reason today is very special.
Especially cold?
Especially cold, okay, but the big question on everyone's lips.
Phil supplies the next line in unison with the radio.
Chapped lips.
Chapped lips.
On their chapped lips, right? Do you think Phil is going to come out and see his shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Some vague doubt causes Phil to go to the window.
That's right, rodent lovers. It's Groundhog Day.
Sound of grunting groundhogs as Phil pulls back curtains and looks out. It's POV. The street is full of people heading towards Gobbler's Knob, exactly as they were the day before.
The hell?
Cut 2. Interior bread and breakfast donned. Phil rushes out of the corridor, hastily trying his tie, his suit and jacket and overcoat over his arm. As he heads for the breakfast room, the same chubby man passes.
Morning.
Morning.
Think it'll be an early spring?
Didn't we do this yesterday?
I don't know what you mean.
Phil grabs him by the front of his shirt and looks deeply into his eyes.
Don't mess with me, pork chop. What day is this?
February 2nd, Groundhog Day.
Phil can see he's telling the truth and relaxes his grip on the poor man.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm having a bad day. Tim?
Phil walks on, leaving the chubby man baffled and insulted.
I'll say.
Interior breakfast room continuous. Phil enters the old library of the house and finds everything exactly as it was the day before. Mrs. Lancaster spots Phil and she comes out of the kitchen with a fresh pot of coffee.
Did you sleep well, Mr. Connors?
Did I don't know.
Would you like some coffee?
Yes, thank you. I'm feeling a little strange.
I wonder what the weather's going to be like for all the festivities.
Did you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
Oh, is that the Italian dessert with brandy and the chocolate mousse?
No, that's spaghetti. Never mind.
He heads for the door, still in a daze.
Oh, will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'll tell you after I wake up.
Phil exit. Cut 2. Exterior boarding house moments later. Phil gulps down the steaming coffee, still trying to wake up from what he assumes is a dream, and descends the front steps. He accosts a passerby.
Ma'am, excuse me, where's everybody going?
To Gobbler's Knob. It's Groundhog's Day.
The coffee cup drops from Phil's hand as he stands there open mouthed. Then he slaps his own face and shakes his head, as if trying to clear it, and starts off down the street. Exterior, Main Street, Puxatawny, continuous. Phil rushes across the street, again failing to notice the old bum sitting on the sidewalk, leaning against a storefront.
Hey, Phil!
Ned Ryerson approaches with the same obnoxious attitude.
Phil! Phil Connors! I thought that was you.
Phil just stares at him and keeps walking.
Oh my, Phil Connors, don't you say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck if I remember you. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing! First shot right out of the box. How's it going, old buddy, old pal?
To tell you the truth, Nettie, I'm not feeling real well. Could you excuse me?
Now, it's funny you should mention your health, because you'll never guess what I do.
Do you sell insurance, Ned?
Bing again! You're sharp as a tack today. Do you have life insurance, Phil? Because if you do, I bet you could use more. Who couldn't? But I got a feeling you don't have any. Am I right? Or am I right? Am I right?
Did I say fuck off, Ned? I can't talk to you right now.
He backs away from Ned and steps right into the same deep, slushy puddle he stepped in the day before.
Hey, look out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Phil looks down at his wet shoes and cuffs and stumbles off towards Gobbler's Knob. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. The crowd is gathered as before about the big moment. In the press area, Rita is having the same dialogue with Larry when she spots Phil heading into the crowd.
Here he comes. Phil. Hey, Phil, over here.
Phil waves to her and heads straight down for the obscure corner of the knob, gesturing for her to fall. Larry shakes his head as Rita charges through the crowd towards Phil. She catches up to him just as he is scratching a mark in the snow with his foot. She notices immediately that he is uncharacteristically disheveled, his tie askew, his hair mush.
Where have you been?
I've got to talk to you. I think I'm losing my mind.
I know you're losing it. What are you doing over here? The camera's over there.
Slap me, Rita.
What is this?
Just slap me hard.
She gives up and taps him lightly on the cheek.
I said hard.
I can't.
Do it.
Rita shrugs and slaps him very hard.
Better. Almost too hard, Rita.
Are you drunk?
No, drunk is more fun. Can I be serious with you for a minute?
I don't know. Can you?
Yes, I'm being serious. I'm having a problem. No, I may be having a problem.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that if I was having a problem, just hypothetically, I'd like to know that you're someone I could count on in a crisis.
What did you do last night?
The crowd begins to hush.
You better get started. We're gonna miss it.
We're not going to miss it. They're going to miss it.
Phil, we've been out here for an hour. We're cold and tired. Let's just get this and get out of here.
Okay, put it here.
What?
Put the camera here.
Rita takes a forlorn glance towards the press area where all the other cameras are set up.
Phil, there is no tomorrow on this one. It's Groundhog Day.
We were in the wrong spot yesterday.
What? Yesterday? What are you talking about?
Just trust me, put the camera here.
Rita looks at him like he's crazy, then looks at her watch and gives up.
Larry!
She charges off towards the cameras. In the press area, several reporters are already talking to their cameras, dribbling about how he would appear any second now. Rita and Larry grab their gear and rush back to Phil. Larry hurriedly sets up the camera.
You want me to roll tape?
Are you gonna get on your mark?
No hurry.
Larry glances over at the other news reporters, all talking to the cameras and pointing towards the mound.
Everyone else is rolling.
Rita looks helplessly at Phil.
Begging you, all right? Can we please just do this?
Phil glances down at his watch.
Okay, let's do it.
He crosses over to Larry and taps him on the shoulder.
Roll tape.
Images.
Phil takes the microphone from Rita and positions himself against the fencing.
Rolling.
Phil does a similar intro to the one he did before, though this time it's a bit tentative.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And you know what that means. Everyone's here at Gobbler's Knob, waiting in the cold for the appearance of the most famous groundhog in the world, Puxatawny Phil, who's going to tell us just how much more of this we can expect.
The Groundhog Club official knocks on the groundhog's door, then opens and retreats. Phil takes a deep breath and makes his first experimental prediction, recalling the previous day.
My forecast is we're going to see the groundhog peek its head out of its hole, look around a little bit, then he's going to come out, scamper over to this general area, look at the crowd for a second, make a little burping noise, and run back into the ground.
That's it. I'm going to kill him.
Phil looks at his watch.
Okay, and here we go.
Phil points to the hole, and Larry zooms in. The groundhog sticks his head out, looks left, looks right, steps out of the hole, and runs away from the press pool, directly over to Larry's camera. As he stands there, his body casts a long shadow. The Groundhog Day looks right into the camera, lets out a squeak, and runs back into the hole. Rita and Larry completely amazed as the crowd cheers the brief appearance of the groundhog. Larry pans back to Phil. Phil just stands there speechless, staring at the groundhog girl.
Phil!
Lester Green, the Groundhog Club official, walks into the mound and hushes the crowd, exactly as before.
Came out and he saw his shadow. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it looks like it's going to be a long winter.
Again, the crowd lets out a good-natured awe and disappointment.
Aww.
Larry pans back to Phil just in time to see him walking away in a fog without saying off. Then he panned back to Rita.
For Channel 9 News, this is Rita Hansen and Puxatawny.
She holds for a moment, then makes the cut sign, drawing her finger across the throat. Cut 2. Interior, Phil's room, later. Phil is on the phone, desperately trying to make a call.
I know there's a blizzard, but I have to get a call through to my doctor in Pittsburgh. It's a medical emergency. No, don't give me the Puxatawny Fire Department. What do you think the long-distance lines will be working again? But what if we don't have it tomorrow? We didn't have one today, my friend. Hello? Hello?
He hangs up and shakes his head, which is now really starting to ache. He pops a handful of Tylenol, lies down, and pulls the cover up over his head. A moment later, he sits up, takes a pencil from his nightstand, breaks it in half, and puts the paints back into on the nightstand. He lies back down and retreats back under the covers. Cut 2. Close up, clock. The digital clock radio changes from 5:59 to 6 a.m. The radio comes on, playing the end of the Sonny and Cher hit, I Got You Babe, just as it did the day before. Interior, Phil's room, dawn. Phil sits up in bed, fearing the worst, and looks at the nightstand. The pencil is whole again, completely stunned by the phenomenon, jumps out of bed and starts dressing. Hurriedly has the morning DJs begin their familiar rap.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties because it's cold out there today.
Cold out there every day. What is this? Miami Beach?
Phil rushes out of the room. Cut 2. Exterior, Cherry Street. Later. Phil hurries towards the bread and breakfast carrying 2-gallon buckets of paint and a couple of big bags from the hardware store. Interior, bed and breakfast, continuous. Phil enters and passes Miss Lancaster in the breakfast room.
Painting something, Mr. Connors?
I'm conducting an experiment.
Interior, Phil's room, later. Phil enters and dumps the bags on the bed. Out fall a couple of big paintbrushes, a small sledgehammer, a handsaw, a crowbar, plastic goggles, and assorted other tools. Puts on the goggles, grabs a hammer and some nails and starts nailing the door shut. Cut 2. Exterior, corridor, later. Miss Lancaster and the several other guests are gathered in the hall outside Phil's room, listening at the door and looking very worried. Loud music is playing inside the room. From inside the room, they hear the sound of loud hammering, wood splintering, and glass breaking. Interior, Phil's room, continuous. Phil has just demolished just about all the furniture and woodwork in the room. He rips off the last of the wood moldings from the crowbar with a crowbar, then crosses the mirror over the smallest things. Phil stands there, staring at his image in the mirror, trying to figure out what's happening to him. He starts breathing heavier as he's gathering courage. Then, just as we think he's going to cut off his ear or something, he raises an electric barber clipper and shaves a bald strip up the middle of his head. He studies his new look for a moment, then smashes the mirror with a sledgehammer. Then he opens the can of paint, dips the 2 big brushes into the can, and starts slapping bright red paint onto the walls, mad, feverishly, splashing himself and everything else in the room with it. For the final touch, he grabs the bed pillows and rips them open, then shakes them all over the room, creating a storm of feathers. Finally, Phil falls down exhausted on the bed. From outside, we can hear outraged hotel employees pounding on the door. We pan over to the clock radio, the only undamaged object in the room. Feathers drip down past the face of the clock, which reads 5:59. The time changes to 6. The radio clicks on, and I Got You Babe starts playing as we pan back to Phil sleeping on the bed. He opens his eyes, jumps out of bed, and looks around. No paint, no feathers, no damage. Everything is as clean and tidy as the day he checked in. He races over the unbroken mirror and looks at himself. His hair is completely restored, as if it had been shaved. As if it had never been shaved. The song ends and the DJs come on. Phil says every word along with them, shocked into a state of complete bewilderment.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties because it's cold out there today.
It's cold out there
It's
every
cold
day.
out there every day.
What is this?
What is
Miami
this?
Beach?
Miami Beach?
DJ laughs. Phil laughs insanely along with him. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, early morning. Phil is wrapping up another Groundhog report, trying to be completely professional despite the circumstances.
So, according to Mr. Groundhog, I guess we can expect 6 more weeks of winter. Not very scientific, but it sure is fun. Hey, wait a second. If he's right, I could be out of a job. For Channel 9 News, this is Phil Connors in Puxatawny.
He holds until Larry stops tape, then approaches Rita.
How was that?
It was good. A little smarmy for my taste, but I guess that's what sells.
Can I talk to you about a matter that is not work-related?
You never talk about work.
Do you know what I did last night?
Do I want to know?
I destroyed my hotel room.
You what? This is not some kind of rock and roll tour. We don't have the budget for that kind of thing.
No, it's okay. This morning it was all right again. That's what I have to talk to you about.
Phil, what are you doing?
Cut 2. Exterior, Main Street, a bit later. Phil and Rita cross the street and walk past the crowd of concerned citizens gathered around what looks like a car accident. As the ambulance arrives, Phil and Rita enter the cozy-looking diner on the corner. Interior diner continuous. Phil and Rita sit together on the same table they had previously. The waiter approaches.
Could I have some coffee, please?
The waiter pours her a cup.
Back to take your order.
Thanks. Okay, so tell me, how do you know where to put the camera?
Because I've done it before.
I know, but the groundhog doesn't do exactly the same thing every year, does he?
I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about today. I lived it before.
You're having deja vu?
Big time. Rita, I know it's nuts, but I keep reliving the same day over and over. Groundhog Day. Today. This is the third time.
Uh-huh. I'm waiting for the punchline.
No, really, it's like today never happened. I shaved my head last night. Today it's all grown back. I could probably cut off my limbs one by one and pop, they grow back, just like a starfish. I probably don't even have to floss.
I'm racking my brain, but I can't even to begin to imagine why you'd make something up like this.
Because I'm not making it up. I'm asking you for your help.
Rita looks at him for a long moment.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you want me to do?
The truth? I'd like you to spend the next 24 hours with me and don't leave my side for a second.
I see. You know, Phil, you can charm all the little PAs at the station, all of the secretaries, even some of the weekend anchors, but not me. Not in 1,000 years.
Wait a second.
Not if I was dying and your breath was the only cure. Not if having your child was the only way to preserve the human race. Just get it out of your head because it is not going to happen.
So much for the truth.
Larry pokes his head in the doorway, looks around, spots Rita, and makes his way over to the table.
You ready? We better get going if we're gonna stay ahead of the weather.
Yeah, I'm ready, Larry. Good luck, Phil.
Cut 2. Insert. X-ray of the Phil skull are slapped onto the light box. Interior. Medical clinic. Day. Phil is having his head examined by a neurologist.
No spots, no tumors, no lesions, no clots, no aneurysms. Everything looks fine and dandy to me. Mr. Connors, have you considered psychiatric help?
Cut 2. Interior. Psychologist's office. Puxatani's only psychologist is the marriage and family counselor at the local Lutheran church. His appearance and manner indicate he may have some serious problems of his own. That's kind of an unusual problem, Mr. Connors. Most of my work is with families and couples. Phil lies on the couch. His head is completely shaved.
Yeah, but you're still a psychologist. You must have had some course in school that covered this kind of thing.
Sorta, I guess. Abnormal psychology.
So based on that, what would you say?
I'd say that you're maybe, I don't know, a little delusional.
You're saying this thing is not really happening to me.
Uh-huh.
Then how do I know this conversation is really happening?
I guess you don't.
Then forget about me paying you.
A discreet little alarm sounds. I'm afraid that's all the time we have, Mr. Connors.
Wait, are you saying I'm crazy?
Not necessarily. If it concerns you that much, we could schedule another section. How's tomorrow for you? Phil glowers at him. Cut 2. Insert. A model of the solar system. A scientist in a white coat is holding up the model. Phil looks on with interest.
Now, if the moon exerts a gravitational pull strong enough to cause the tides, then it may theoretically be possible for a black hole or a singularity of sufficient magnitude to actually bend time enough to cause it to fold back on itself.
You think that's a realistic possibility?
A paper airplane sails past ahead, accompanied by a noisy outburst of juvenile laughter. We pull back to reveal. Interior classroom. Day. 25 8th graders running amok.
All right, I think someone may just need a little visit to the assistant principal's office. Get back in your seats. The bell has not rung yet.
The kids sit down, then keep up the noisy chatter.
Well, I'm speaking purely hypothetically.
Cut 2. Interior, school corridor, later. Phil is walking toward the exit when he passes the first grade classroom. Door is open and the teacher is discussing a story with the class. So the princess picked up the frog and kissed him. Phil stops outside the door to listen. Interior, classroom, continuous. Now, who can tell me what happened when the princess kissed the frog?
Her lips got slimed?
The whole class erupts and giggles and shrieks. Oh, come on now. What happened when she kissed the frog?
The princess kissed the frog and the spell got broke and he turned into a handsome prince and they got married and lived happily ever after.
That's right. Interior, the corridor, same time. Phil is leaning against the wall listening. There's something very interesting about the fairy tale, but finally, he just shakes his head and exits. Cut 2. Interior, Drew Dup Inn, later that night. Phil is at the bar getting drunk with two local blue-collar workers, Gus and Phil.
Gus, what would you do if there was no tomorrow?
I think that's you, Yoder.
Yeah, I was muted. You mean like if the world was gonna end?
No, I mean like if it was never going to end. If every day was the same and you were stuck here and you couldn't get out and nothing you did mattered.
Oh, you're right. Every day is the same. I can't get out of here and nothing I do matters.
No, he's asking you a question, you idiot.
What is the question?
What if nothing mattered? Geez, I know what I do with my time. I just spend all day driving fast, getting loaded, and getting laid. That's it.
That's it. Just doesn't get any better than that, does it? Good friends, good conversation, and quality brew. Drink up, boys.
They salute each other and drink. Cut 2. Exterior, the street, later. Phil, Gus, and Ralph approach Ralph's big, black, old Buick convertible parked outside the bar. They're even drunker than they were before.
You were saying, Phil? Well, where were you staying, Phil? We'll drop you off.
Hey, friends don't let friends drive drunk. Give me your keys.
He's just as wasted as they are, but Ralph hands him over his keys without a fight.
Thanks, man.
It's nothing. Get in.
They all pile into the front seat with Phil at the wheel.
Seatbelts.
Ralph and Gus give him the thumbs up sign and start digging around in the seat cracks for the seatbelt. Suddenly, Phil floors the accelerator and peels away. Sideswiping a parked car as he screeches around the corner. Interior, the Buick, continuous. Phil is having a great time. Gus and Ralph are whooping it up like kids on a roller coaster.
This is great, Ralph.
Oh, hey, take a left.
Phil passes the intersection.
You missed it.
No problem.
Exterior, Main Street, continuous. Phil throws the car in a high-speed skidding U-turn, goes up on the curb, across a couple of lawns, takes out a mailbox, and a stop sign, and bounces back onto the street. A police car parked in front of the hardware store pulls out and takes off after him. Interior, the Buick, continuous. Phil swerves in and out of ongoing traffic. Gus is starting to look a little green.
So many rules.
You can say that again.
Don't do this.
Exterior, the street, continuous. The Buick demolishes a parked car.
Don't do that.
He mows down a row of parking meters. Police car. It comes screaming around the corner in hot pursuit of the Buick. Interior, the Buick, continuous. Ralph hears the siren and looks back at the police car.
Oh, all right. Try and stop us, you mothers.
No more rules.
I think we mixed that up. No more rules. Sorry.
Exterior, the street, continuous. A second police car joins the chase.
That's two.
Having a good time?
I'm having a great time.
Phil speeds up to 100 miles an hour. Gus is looking even worse from the liquor and the motion of the car.
Hey,
Phil?
Yeah, Phil, like the groundhog.
Right.
Yeah, Phil. How are we gonna get out of this?
Their POV, the intersection ahead. 2 police cars with lights flashing are parked sideways, completely blocking the road. Officers stand in the roadway, motioning for Phil to stop.
Gus, you're just gonna have to trust me on this one.
He tromps the gas pedal on the floor. Gus's eyes go wide with terror. The police dive out of the way.
Yahoo!
Their POV through the windshield. The Buick crashes head on into one of the police cars. Blackout. Close up, clock. The time changes from 5:59 to 6 a.m. The radio starts playing, I Got You, Babe. Phil sits up suddenly and looks around, completely amazed. He is in his room and at the bread and breakfast. Everything exactly the same as before. He hops out of bed and quickly examines himself for any signs of physical energy. Nothing. The music ends and the 2 JJs come on.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties because it's gonna be cold out there today.
Phil talks out loud with them.
It's cold,
It's cold out there every day.
What is this, Miami Beach?
The DJ laughed, Phil's laugh. Phil laughs too, exhilarated at having survived the car wreck. Still very confused and complex, but just beginning to see the possibilities of his new situation. He starts dressing in a hurry. Cut 2. Interior breakfast room continuous. Phil rushes into the breakfast room just as Miss Lancaster comes out of the kitchen with coffee. Everything is exactly the same as before.
Would you?
Phil interrupts, answering all her questions before she can even ask them.
Yes, I would like some coffee. The weather's going to be cold and overcast, with blizzard conditions moving in later today. And yes, I will be staying an extra day.
Oh, why, thank you.
Mrs. Lancaster, has anyone been around here looking for me this morning? Maybe a state official, blue coat, hat, gun, nightstick, badge, driving a late model Ford or Chevy, black and white with bubble lights on top?
No one like that. Will they be?
Apparently not.
Phil gooses her, grabs the sweet wall, and heads for the door, starting to believe that now he can truly do anything he wants to. Cut 2. Exterior boarding house, dawn. Phil stops on the steps, puts on his coat and gloves again, joins the traffic, headed toward Gobbler's Knob. Exterior, Main Street, moments later. Phil passes the old bum, ignoring him as usual.
Hey, Phil!
Phil slips off his glove as Ned Ryerson lumbers towards him.
Phil Connors!
Ned Ryerson, Ned the head?
Before Ned can say another word, Phil slugs him. Ned goes down. Phil puts his glove back on and keeps walking. Phil definitely avoids the slushy pothole he stepped in before. A pedestrian walking behind him steps right into it. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, later. Phil is passing through the crowd on his way to the press area when he notices Nancy, the girl he met at the hotel bar, and stops to talk to her.
You here to see the groundhog?
She gives him a look. It's obviously she's never seen him before.
Can you think of another reason anybody'd be out here at dawn on a freezing day?
What's your name?
Nancy Taylor, and you are?
Where'd you go to high school?
What's that?
High school.
She doesn't really know what to make of Phil, but decides to play along.
Lincoln High School in Pittsburgh. Who are you?
Who was your 12th grade English teacher?
Are you kidding?
I'm waiting.
Mrs. Walsh.
Walsh. Nancy. Lincoln. Walsh.
Is this some kind of come on?
I'm not really sure. We'll have to see.
Phil walks off and joins Rita at the camera position. Cut 2. Interior, diner, later that morning. Phil is sitting at the usual table, which is covered with an incredible variety of rich foods: eggs, bacon, sausage, pancakes, pies, cakes, eclairs, ice cream, puddings, etc. Rita sits across from him, watching in amazement as he stuffs himself with pastries.
Is this some new fad diet? Don't you worry about cholesterol?
Phil scrapes a plate and takes a final bite of a chocolate eclair.
I don't worry about anything anymore.
What makes you so special? Everybody worries about something.
That's exactly what makes me so special.
He takes a big bite of cake. Rita shakes her head.
What?
The wretch, concentred all in self, living shall forfeit far renown, and doubly dying shall go down from the vile dust from whence he sprung, unwept, unhonored, and unsung. Sir Walter Scott.
There was a young man from Nantucket.
That's really funny. When are you going to grow up, Phil?
At this rate, never. Okay if I smoke?
Rita shrugs. Phil lights up a cigarette.
You really do have a death wish, don't you?
Just the opposite, Rita. I have a life wish. I'm just trying to enjoy it, taking pleasure in the little things. Don't you ever just want to cut loose and go wild?
I wouldn't even know what it means to go wild.
Yeah, well, that's where I come in. Going wild is one of my specialties. Last night I got completely loaded and drove head-on into a police car.
Oh, really? You look pretty good this morning.
That's my point. I know you won't believe me, but we could do anything we want today, and it wouldn't matter one bit. Absolutely no consequences, complete and total freedom.
And how would we manage that?
You leave that to me. Why don't you send Larry back and hang out with me for the rest of the day? You never make it through that blizzard anyways.
Larry enters the diner and spots them.
I'll take my chances with the weather, but you have a good time.
Don't worry, I plan to.
Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, next morning. Phil comes through the crowd and finds Nancy in the same spot she was in the day before.
Nancy?
Nancy turns and looks at him quizzically.
Nancy, right?
I'm sorry,
Nancy Taylor, Lincoln High. I sat next to you in Mrs. Walsh's English class.
That
Phil Connors.
is amazing.
You don't remember me, do you?
I don't. Sure, I think.
We used to shoot spitballs.
Yeah, oh, God.
I even asked you to the prom.
Bill Connors?
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm great. Wow, you look terrific. Hey, listen, I got to do this report.
You're a reporter?
Weatherman, Channel 9 Pittsburgh.
Right, I should have known.
But maybe after we could...
Yeah, I'd like that.
Phil!
Rita is calling from across the crowd. She looks at him with disapproval. Cut 2. Interior, Phil's room, night. Phil is making passionate love to a woman in the dark.
Oh, Phil.
Oh, Rita.
The woman suddenly freezes. There's a moment of silence. She snaps on the light. It's Nancy, not Rita. Phil is surprised as she is at the slip of the tongue.
Who's Rita?
No one. It's just something I say when I make love, you know. Oh, Rita. Oh, Rita. It's like, oh, baby or something.
Oh.
Oh, Rita.
Nancy laughs uncertainly. Phil switches off the light, thinking now about Rita. Interior, breakfast room, morning. Some elderly guests are sipping coffee and eating breakfast, staring uncomfortably at something on the other side of the room. Their POV. Phil is standing on the bookcase, wearing only pajamas, definitely munching on a Danish as he reads from one of the books. Mrs. Lancaster approaches him.
A wonderful collection.
Yes, it is. You don't usually find this many trashy novels in one place.
You can take a book up to your room if you like.
No, thank you. I've actually read them all. I was just rereading some of the dirty parts.
He finishes and puts the book back on the shelf.
How long will you be staying with us, Mr. Connors?
Indefinitely. I've already been here for 211 days.
Really? That's quite a long time, isn't it? I hope you're finding things to do in our little town.
Yes, well, I'm getting a little tired of casual sex, so today I thought I'd rob a bank and buy myself a really expensive car.
Phil kisses her on the lips and walks off. Cut 2. Exterior, Penn Bank and Trust, day. Two harmless-looking old guards are calmly loading bags of cash into a armored car parked in front of the local bank. Suddenly, Phil appears, wielding a shotgun, wearing a Batman-style cape, his face completely hidden by the ski mask.
All right, freeze. Drop your guns, Jay.
The guards stand there, frozen with terror.
You guys ever been held up before? It's kind of exciting, isn't it?
I guess so. Something to tell the kids about.
Yeah. By the way, I'm Phil.
He raises the mask and shows his face. Herman. Felix.
Herman and Felix. Okay, take it easy, boys, and thanks.
The frightened guards watch as Phil makes off with large satchels of money. Cut 2. Interior used car dealership. Day. Phil passes ahead of a BMW 850 sports car as the salesman stands by beaming. Phil is wearing a full Steelers football uniform, complete with shoulder pads. She's a real beauty, huh? We picked up a...
I'll take it. How much?
Well, the sticker says $62,999, but if you want...
I'll tell you what. I'll give you the $70,000 if you just knock off the car salesman stuff and let me get out of here with my car.
The salesman gawks as Phil opens his briefcase and starts counting out stacks of bills. Cut 2. Exterior, Puxatawny, day. From a high angle, we see the BMW tearing down the streets of the town and running a Grand Prix road race. Cut 2. Exterior, Main Street, day. The BMW comes screeching to a stop in front of the movie theater and the doors open. A pair of really elaborate cowboy boots, complete with silver spurs, hit the pavement first. Then we pan up to see Phil emerge from the car wearing a really gaudy, full-out cowboy outfit with real six-gun on them zips. A very trashy-looking girl, Lorraine, gets out on the passenger side, dressed like a French maid.
I thought we were going to a costume party.
Yeah, we are. But first, I have this movie theater fantasy I want to talk to you about.
He escorts her into the theater. Cut 2. Interior, tattoo parlor, another day. Phil is lying on the table getting elaborately tattooed. Rita walks in, looks in the window, and is shocked to see Phil's there. Phil waves at her and points to the colorful new part pierced by a bloody dagger getting tattooed on his arm. Cut 2. Interior, biker bar, night. We pan down the line of rough trade patrons too. Phil, dressed like all in black leather, both arms heavily tattooed, looking like Sid Vicious on crack. Takes off his hat to reveal red, white, and blue hair shaved down almost to the skull. A slut named Angie and another overweight, not very pretty Madonna wannabe, both in too tight jeans, bullet bras, are coming on to him, practically licking his ears. Angie pops a couple mystery pills in the mouth and into his mouth. Phil washes them down with a shot and a beer. Cut 2. Interior, Phil's room, night. It looks like outtakes from Fellini's Satricon. Heavy metal is blaring from the radio as several unsavory-looking men and women are partying down. A few already passed out, sleeping off whatever hit them. Someone is knocking loudly on the door, shouting complaints about the music. A beer bottle smashes against the door. Phil is sitting up in bed with Angie. He has his arms around her and a fifth of wild turkey in his hand.
Yeah, but eventually you just get tired of screwing around and then you want a real relationship, wouldn't you?
I don't know. A big German shepherd tries to jump on the bed with him.
Get down, Bruno. Someone decent, someone who you respected, who respects you.
I guess so. The dog jumps up again.
Down, Bruno. It's tough to find a relationship like that, especially if your time is kind of limited. But you still have to try, don't you? Bruno, I told you, off the bed.
Phil looks over at Angie, who's passed out with her mouth open.
There's got to be more to it than this.
Cut 2. Exterior, a side street the next morning. Rita is in the news van reviewing the tape of Phil's report. Phil hovers at the open side door.
You look good. I mean, it came out all right. How do you know where to put the camera?
Psychic. So did you have a nice evening?
I just had a sandwich, watched some TV, and went to bed.
I got my whole body tattooed and partied all night with some nymphomaniac biker chicks.
Sounds wholesome. Were those the new 24-hour disappearing tattoos, or can I see them?
No, they're gone. Rita, if you have only one day to live, what would you do with it?
She switches off the videotapes and steps out of the van.
I don't know, Phil. What are you dying of?
No, I mean, like, what if the entire world is about to explode?
I just want to know where to put the camera. What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
She starts walking towards the center of town. Phil sticks right with her.
No, I just want to know you better. What do you like? What do you want? What do you think about? What kind of men are you interested in? What do you do for fun?
Is this real, or are you just going to make me feel like a fool?
I'm just trying to talk to you like a normal person. Isn't this how normal people talk?
Close.
Okay, so talk to me. Come on, I'll buy you a cup of coffee.
Cut 2. Interior, diner, a little later. Phil and Rita are at their usual table, drinking coffee.
I guess I want what everyone wants, like career, love, marriage, children. So far, I just don't even have any of it.
You have a career.
I have a job. Doing stories on Puxatawny Groundhog is not my ultimate goal. No offense.
How about the other stuff? You seen anybody?
This is getting too personal. I don't think I'm ready to discuss these things with you. But what about you? What do you want?
What I really want is someone like you.
Please.
Why not?
Phil, you have so much talent and ability. If you just drop the attitude and act like a decent human being, then maybe I'd...
You'd what?
I don't know what.
Then maybe you'd like me?
She stares hard at him.
I don't know. It's sort of like the way I feel about UFOs. I'd have to see it to believe it.
Larry pokes his head in the doorway, looks around, spots Rita, and makes his way over to the table.
You ready? We better get going if we're gonna stay ahead of the weather.
Yeah, I'll be right out, Larry.
Larry scowls at Phil and exits.
Why don't you stay for a while? The road's going to be closed anyway. Do you really want to be stuck in the van with Larry for 3 hours?
I've got to get back. I'll see you later.
Phil watches Rita exit. Phil's POV. Rita gets in the news van and drives off with Larry. Phil stares out the window, more determined than ever to win her over. Cut 2. Exterior, Valver's Knob, another day. Phil is wrapping up his Groundhog report.
Well, you heard it right from the Groundhog's mouth. Bundle up good because it's going to be a long winter, at least in Puxatawny. Reporting for Channel 9, this is Phil Connors.
Larry stops tape.
That was great. How did you know
I have to go now. There's something I have to do.
Phil runs off without another word of explanation. Exterior, the news van, later. Phil has the hood open and is doing something to the engine. Cut 2. Interior, the Burkhoff restaurant, later. Rita is sitting at the bar in the town's best restaurant, a good chop house with black forest decor and waitresses dressed in dreidel skirts and aprons. Phil enters and sits down next to her.
Oh, hi, Rita. You're still here?
Well, the van won't start. Larry's working on it.
Why didn't you know it? Buy you a drink?
Okay.
Jack Daniels.
For you, miss?
Tequila with lime, gold, if you've got it.
Phil nods to himself. Cut 2. Same scene, another day. Phil walks in and sits next to Rita.
Oh, hi, Rita. You still here?
The van won't start. Larry's working on it.
Why didn't you know it? Buy you a drink?
Okay.
Tequila with lime, gold if you've got it.
Rita looks at Phil, surprised. For you, miss?
Same for me, please.
The bartender pours.
What should we toast to?
Your call.
To the Groundhog.
Rita stares for a moment.
I always drink to world peace.
Cut 2. Same scene, another day. Take your order.
Tequila with lime, gold if you've got it.
Rita looks at Phil. For you, miss?
Same for me, please.
The bartender pours. Phil lifts his glass.
To world peace.
Rita smiles, reevaluating him.
To world peace.
They clink glasses. Cut 2. Interior, the bar, later. Rita and Phil are now sitting together at a table. A plate of cheese and crackers and a bottle of white wine between them.
You like your job?
It's okay. I think it could be really challenging. Of course, it's about 1,000,000 miles from where I started out in college.
You were in broadcasting?
At Bryn Mawr? No, Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
Really, what a waste of time.
Rita looks offended. Phil knows he's made a mistake. Cut 2. Same theme, another day.
You weren't in broadcasting?
At Bryn Mawr? No. Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
Phil leans in closer to her.
Le fil que je me sera comme un bon vin, qui sa bonne fière un pied chaque matin.
Hell yeah, Phil.
Rita smiles, entranced. Cut 2. Interior, fudge shop. Day. Phil and Rita are sitting in the table in a small confectionery, tasting chunks of different flavored fudge. Rita takes a bite.
This is terrific.
Best fudge in town.
How do you know so much about Punxsutawney?
I like small towns. I think they engender real community more than big cities.
That is so true. I've always thought that too.
No kidding. Here, try the white chocolate.
Oh, ugh, don't make me sick.
No white chocolate.
There's something so familiar about this. Do you ever have deja vu?
Phil smiles. Then Larry enters.
I don't believe it. Someone bought every distributor cap in this town. We're gonna be stuck here all night.
Over Phil's sympathetic look, we hear the song, I Can't Get Started With You. Cut 2. Interior, the Burkhoff restaurant night. The music continues over Rita and Phil on the small dance floor. They dance, close, dreamy, romantic. Cut 2. Exterior, Main Street, later that night. There is light snow falling. Phil and Rita are making a little snowman. Somehow the town looks magical tonight. Old-fashioned, wholesome. A snowball hits Phil in the back. He and Rita turn around to see a giggling kid. Phil packs a snowball and tosses it. The kid throws one back. Rita and Phil both get into it, packing snowballs and getting into war with the kid and his little gang of friends. A snowball catches Rita unaware. She slips and goes down in the snowbank. Phil bends down to help her and slips. They're not together, lying in the snow and laughing. Their eyes lock for a long, sweet moment. Then Rita gets embarrassed and stands up. Cut 2. Exterior, Cherry Street Inn, night. Phil and Rita are walking slowly, very close.
What?
I'm just amazed, and I'm not easily amazed.
About what?
How you can start a day with one kind of expectation and end up so completely different.
Do you like how this day is turning out?
Yeah, I like it very much.
They stop in front of Phil's hotel. She turns to him.
You could never have planned a day like this, but it couldn't have been more perfect.
You're wrong. I've been planning this day for weeks.
Rita ignores the remarks and hugs him. Phil tries to kiss her, but she gently puts her finger on his lips, stopping him. They enter the bed and breakfast inn. Interior, vestibule, continuous. Rita hugs him again and starts to exit.
Thanks. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Wait, aren't you going to come into my room for a while?
I don't know, Phil.
No reason to end a perfect day.
No, we better not.
No, you should. The poetry. I've got some books. Rimbound, Baudelaire. We could light a fire.
Thanks, but
please come, Rita. It'll be.
No, I'm tired. We can be together tomorrow.
But there is no tomorrow for me.
Let's not ruin it, Phil. There's no way I'm sleeping with you tonight.
Why not, Rita? I love you.
You don't even know me.
Please, you have to.
Rita shakes loose from his grasp.
What's wrong with you?
There's a long moment of silent tension. Then all her old doubts about Phil come rushing back.
Oh no, I can't believe I fell for it. This whole day was just one long setup, and I ate fudge. Ugh, I hate fudge.
No, it was real. I love you.
Stop saying that. Do you really expect me to trust you? The whole secretarial pool is a Phil Connors recovery group.
But I can change. I really can.
Rita slaps him hard on the cheek.
That's for making me care about you.
She turns and stomps off. leaving Phil standing there hurting. Cut 2. Exterior, Main Street, another night. Snowball fight with the kids is going on as before. Phil falls into the snowbank with Rita, and they almost kiss. Cut 2. Interior, Quality Inn Motel later. Phil is trying to talk his way into Rita's room. She pushes him away and slams the door in his face. Cut 2. Exterior, Motel night. The streets are deserted except for Phil staring up at Rita's window in the Quality Inn. Rita comes to her window and looks out. She sees Phil is looking up at her and draws the curtain. Cut 2. Interior, Phil's room. I Got You Babe is playing. Phil hits the radio clock radio to turn it off. He lies there for a moment, then hests himself heavily out of bed, not eager to repeat the day yet another time. With the radio off, Phil does the DJ's morning routine himself, seemingly for the millionth time.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties because it's cold out there today.
Phil continues the radio report at his own pace, obviously fatigued.
It's cold out there every day. What is this, Miami Beach? Huh, not hardly. And you expect hazardous travel later today with that, blizzard thing.
Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. Phil is walking through the crowd. He spots Nancy, walks up to her, and greets her half-heartedly.
Hi, Nancy.
Do I know you?
Phil can't even manage enough enthusiasm to pursue her yet again.
No, I guess not. I thought you were someone else.
Phil wanders off over to Rita, where Rita and Larry are setting up the camera. Rita comes over to him.
You all right, Phil? You look terrible.
Phil looks at her sadly, then turns away.
I'm fine.
Cut 2. Interior, biker bar, night. The balls crack as the cue ball breaks the rack. Phil is walking around the table, cue in hand, sinking ball after ball, while several admiring hustlers look on.
Who is this guy?
I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, mister. Who are you anyway?
Phil shoots, sinks a tough one.
You don't know me. I've been playing here every day for 2 months.
Oh, yeah? So how come I ain't seen you?
I don't know. I seen you.
So what's your name?
They call me Puxatawny Phil.
Puxatawny Phil? Like the groundhog?
Yeah, like the groundhog.
Phil sinks another one. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. The crowd is waiting expectantly for the groundhog to appear. Phil is erect, squatting unprofessionally in front of the camera.
This is one of the most pitiful spectacles known to civilization. With one nod from a filthy rodent best known to pest control agencies, a moribund old coal mining hamlet turns magically into the Lords of Pennsylvania, Mecca to the thousands of people who, if they hated the winter so damn much, why don't they move to Florida anyway?
Larry and Rita look on, incredulous. Cut 2. Close up, TV set. The program Jeopardy is playing. Nobel Prize winning co-discoverers of DNA molecule.
Who are Watson and Crick?
Correct. There is a cheering from a small group of people off screen. Interior, parlor, continuous. Phil was sitting in his bathrobe in the big lounge chair in the parlor of his hotel. Mrs. Lancaster, with other guests, watched the performance, awed by his intellect. Twin brother and sister Sebastian and Olivia created a confusion in this Shakespearean comedy.
What is Twelfth Night?
What is Twelfth Night? Correct. More cheering from the small group. I'll take New Jersey for 800, Alex. And the answer is an audio daily double.
Count Basie.
Cut 2. Exterior, street, day. Phil is walking through town, still dressed only in the pajamas and overcoat, counting the sidewalk cracks, taking giant steps from one to the next. He looks crazy.
2,671, 2,672, 2,673.
A woman walks past, walking her dog.
Hey, pick up after your dog.
He hasn't done anything.
He's going to. There and there and there.
Phil continues walking, counting the sidewalk cracks. 3 neighborhood kids notice Phil and walk along, matching his step for step.
2,674, 2,675, 2,000.
5,800,000.
600.
90, 20, 4, 6, 50.
2,400.
2, 8, 9, 46. Phil stops. He has lost count. His lips curl up like an animal as he turns slowly, growling at the kid. They run away, screaming with the cop. Phil starts after him, but runs right into a cop.
You got a problem, buddy?
Yeah, I got a problem, buddy. I can't stand this place anymore. I can't stand this street, and I can't stand the 14 bars and the 5 banks and the 1-star food and the bad weather and the giant little shops. And most of all, I can't stand anything with a groundhog on it.
He rips a groundhog patch off the cop's jacket sleeve.
Okay, let's see what we can do about getting you out of here. You got a name?
Phil.
Phil. Like the groundhog.
Phil turns to the cop like a rabid dog. Ready.
Yeah, like the groundhog.
Some big new idea has formed in his mind. Cut 2, exterior, Gobbler's Knob, early morning. Rita, looking at Phil, has Larry videotapes his report.
Guy's nuts. He's out of his gourd.
Let him finish and then I'll call the station.
They turn back to watch Phil's wrap-up. Phil is completely unkempt, still wearing only pajama bottoms and his overcoat, looking even more demented.
There is no way this winter is ever going to end. As long as that groundhog keeps seeing his shadow every day, I don't see any way out of it. He's got to be stopped, and I've got to stop him. For Channel 9 News, this is Phil Connors.
Cut 2, exterior, Gobbler's Knob, night. Phil is walking around the mound, casing up, takes a rifle out from under his coat, and sneaks up to the burrow. He pulls a smoke bomb from his pocket, lights it, and throws it into the hole, then scurries for the edge of the bomb to the edge of the knob and hits the deck. He lifts his rifle and aims it. Smoke is now pouring from the mound, lots of it. Phil waits, his trigger finger twitching. A woman casually walks by, stops. She surveys the situation.
He ain't there.
Phil moves. He doesn't even care that she sees him.
You can wait all night, but he ain't coming out. He don't live there. They keep him in the library.
Phil's gun droops. The woman begins to walk off, then stops.
Plug him once for me.
She leaves. Cut 2, exterior, Civic Center, day. Phil passes a pedestal bearing a life-size bronze statue of the groundhog and enters the public library. Interior, library, continuous. She walks past the front desk, looking very haggard and dangerous, and enters the children's section. No one is present except for the children's librarian, a young woman reshelving books in the stacks. She looks around quickly and sees a window in the wall, and over it a large sign which reads, Puxatawny Phil, the great procrastinates. Phil heads right for it. The groundhog stirs around his little temperature-controlled habitat, oblivious to the approaching danger. As Phil approaches the groundhog display, he reaches into his overcoat and pulls out a pump shotgun with a short pistol grip. The children's librarian sees the gun and freezes. Phil pumps the shell into the chamber as he walks right into the case. Phil's POV. The groundhog looks right into his sights. Phil squeezes the trigger. Loud gunshots. Boom! The glass window is still intact, but not a scratch on it. The groundhog looks playfully. Phil fires off 5 more rounds, but again, no result. Phil can't believe it. He charges the grass, and pounds it with his rifle butt. Can't even chip it. Suddenly, he's seized from behind by 2 strong men who take the rifle from him and wrestle him to the ground. Librarian now comes up running up and looks at the groundhog. Is he all right?
He's just fine. That's 2 inches of bulletproof glass there. You can't be too careful in this day and age.
Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob. The groundhog is just poking his head out of the hole. He stands full length, full height, and looks around. Phil looks directly at the groundhog with hate and scheming madness. Suddenly, Phil whips out a big, giant kitchen knife from under his coat and dives the groundhog. Town officials and police throw themselves on Phil as the groundhog scampers safely back into his hole. Rita and Larry videotape the incident, aghast at Phil's insane attack. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, another day. Larry and Rita are loading their equipment back into the van. Rita spots Phil standing on the other side of the crowd. She marches straight over to him, furious.
Where were you this morning? How could you possibly miss the shoot?
Come to the end of me, Rita. There's only one way out now. Just remember, we had a wonderful day together once.
Phil kisses her gently on the cheek and walks off towards the back of the knob. Rita watches him, then follows at a discreet distance, very worried. The small clearing behind the man-made Groundhog Girl, Buster Green, and 2 other Groundhog Club officials are lifting a cage in the back seat of Buster's pickup.
There you go, old buddy. Good job. Hey, he smiled at me. You see that?
Right.
There, little fella.
The other official looks up and sees Phil walking towards him like a zombie. Hi.
Hi there, mister. Something I can do for you?
Without a word, Phil jumps quickly in the cab of the pickup and starts it up.
Hey, what are you?
Phil drives off in Buster's truck. Rita witnesses the groundhog napping and runs back towards the knob.
Larry!
Buster and his aides race for another parked car nearby.
Jake, call the police and get the word out. Somebody's kidnapped Phil. We're going after him. Come on, Tommy.
They jump into the car. Buster guns the engine and takes off after the pickup. Rita runs up to Larry and grabs the camera on the fly.
Let's go. Phil just snatched the groundhog.
Larry does a slow take and starts gathering up the rest of the gear.
Probably some kind of gerbil deal. Perverts.
Cut 2. Exterior, local road. Minutes later. Phil comes tearing around a slippery curve, followed by Buster in his car, and close behind him on a contingent of police cars and the Channel 9 news van. Interior, pickup. Phil looks at the groundhog in the seat next to him, then punches the gas as he drives up the mountain drive.
Coming to the end of the trail, Phil. Then we're going out in a blaze of glory.
Interior, Buster's car, same time. Buster pursues Phil with relentless determination.
Nobody takes my groundhog and gets away with it.
Interior, the news van, same time. Rita is driving. Larry is hooking up the camera.
What is he doing? What can he be thinking? He must have just snapped.
Larry squeezes into the passenger seat with the camera mounted on his shoulder.
This ought to be good.
Exterior, mountain road, continuous. The cars chase the pickup to the top of the mountain. Interior, Buster's car, continuous.
Okay, I know this road. There's no way off except the way we came up.
All right, we got him now.
Exterior, Loggers Leap, continuous. Pickup is losing its lead over the pursuers as it nears the sharp mountain cliff. Interior, pickup, the same time. Phil looks in his rearview mirror as the cars chase him. He glances down at the groundhog. He takes a breath.
Okay, pal. It's showtime.
Phil hits the gas. Interior, the news van, same time. Larry is taping as Rita comes around the curb just in time to see the pickup truck speeding towards the cliff. Rita hits the brakes and watches in horror.
No!
Exterior, Loggers Leap, continuous. The pickup bursts through a retaining fence and rockets over the edge of the cliff. Pickup seems to hang in slow motion for a long time, then begins a slow motion descent. falling ever so gracefully until impacts on the granite rock face below. Big explosion, big fireball, flaming wreckage, then a small click, followed by, I got you, babe. Dissolved too. Phil. He slowly opened his eyes and blinks. He looked around and realized he's back in his room at the bed and breakfast.
Oh, nice.
Phil thrilled off the covers and hurled himself out of bed. Cut 2. Interior, Ed Ryerson's office, day. Ned and a client are huddled over the desk looking at some papers. The body drops quickly past the window behind them. It's Phil. They rush to the window and look down at the sidewalk 3 stories below. Phil is sprawled out there like a broken puppet, lifeless. Interior, Phil's room, dawn. I Got You Babe is playing. Phil wakes up and smashes the radio. Cut 2. Exterior, street, day. Rita and Larry are walking down the street when a Greyhound bus pulls out of the bus station and accelerates down Main Street. Suddenly, Phil, dressed in pajamas and overcoat, leaps out in front of the speeding bus. Rita witnesses the whole incident. Driver's POV. He sees Phil for the windshield, but doesn't have time to hit the brake just before he runs over Phil. Cut 2. A TV screen. A woman in some horror movie is screaming. Reveal. Miss Lancaster is watching TV in the parlor of the hotel. In the corridor behind her, Phil walks by, dressed in a robe, carrying an electric toaster and a towel, heading for the bathroom. A few moments pass. We hear the zap of electrocution. The lights and TV flicker and dim for a moment, then come back on. Cut 2. Exterior, the bank, day. The building is surrounded by police, all crouched behind their cars with guns and rifles, trained on the door. Suddenly, the doors burst open and Phil comes running out of the bank, screaming, dressed in camouflage fatigue, and armed to the teeth with a assault rifle in one hand, a Uzi in the other, and a couple of handguns stuck in the belt. He doesn't get 3 feet before he's shot down in an incredible hail of fire. Rita stands beside the camera, gaping in horror, while Larry records the grisly massacre. Interior, coroner's day. Rita stands by, weeping while Phil's body is covered with a sheet. In the shadowy darkness under the sheet, a click is heard. Phil's eyes pop open. I Got You, Babe plays. Interior, Phil's room, continuous. Phil pulls the sheet off his head and finds himself back in his bed in the room. A tear falls from his eye. Cut 2. Interior, diner, day. Phil and Rita are sitting in the diner at the regular table.
I'm sorry. What was that again?
I'm a god.
You're God.
No, I'm a god, not the god. At least I don't think I am.
That's reassuring. For a minute there, I thought you might be crazy.
No, it's true. It's the only possible explanation. I'm a supernatural being.
Because you survived a car wreck.
The waiter comes to the table.
Are you ready to order?
Not just the car wreck. I didn't just blow up yesterday, you know. I've been run over, drowned, crushed, stabbed, shot, electrocuted, poisoned, frozen, burned, and asphyxiated.
Really?
The waiter looks at him like he's nuts.
But I always wake up the next day without a scratch, without even a headache. I'm telling you, I'm immortal.
The special today is blueberry waffles.
Why are you telling me this?
Because some people like blueberry waffles.
No, not you, him.
Because I want you to believe in me.
You're not a god, Phil. Take my word for it. This is 12 years of Catholic school talking.
I could come back if you're not ready.
How do you know I'm not a god?
Please.
How do you know?
Because it's not possible.
I'll come back.
The waiter turns to leave.
Hey, Billy.
The waiter turns back.
This is Bill. He's been a waiter for 3 years because he left Penn State and has to find work. He likes the town, he paints toy soldiers, and he's gay.
I'm not.
Phil grabs an astonished Rita and pulls over to the next table.
What are you doing?
This is Doris Kleiser and her fiance, Fred.
Do I know you?
They're supposed to get married tonight, but Doris is having second thoughts.
What? Doris touches her engagement ring, dumbfounded. Rita is a little embarrassed.
A lovely ring.
Thanks.
Phil drags Rita to the counter.
This is Ralph. Say hi, Rita.
Rita flashes a quick smile.
Don't believe I've had the...
Ralph hates his life here and wants to drive around town smashing into policemen.
Well, who don't?
This is some kind of trick.
Yes, it's a trick, but maybe the real God cheats too. Maybe God isn't omnipotent. He's just had a lot of practice.
How about that guy?
Tom worked in the coal mining until they shut it down.
Her?
Nancy went to Lincoln High School in Pittsburgh, takes herself out to lunch once a week.
Rita is getting very bewildered. From their reactions, you can see that Phil is right about each and every one of them.
How do you know these people?
I told you the truth. In 5 seconds, there's going to be a grease fire in the kitchen. 5, 4.
This is nuts.
3, 2, 1.
Phil points to the kitchen as smoke starts pouring from the service window. Everyone in the diner is now staring at them.
Okay, enough. Let's just sit down and think for a second. What do you know about me, Phil? Do you know me too?
Phil takes a long pause.
I know all about you, Rita. I know you like producing, but hope for better than Channel 9 Pittsburgh.
Well, everybody knows that.
You like boats, but not the ocean. There's a lake you go to in the summer with your family, up in the mountains with an old wooden dock and a boathouse with boards missing in the roof, and a place you could use to crawl underneath to be alone. And at night you'd look up and see the stars. You're a sucker for Rocky Road, Marlon Brando, and French poetry. You're wonderfully generous, you're kind to strangers and children, and when you stand in the snow, you look like an angel.
How are you doing this?
I told you. I wake up every day right here, right in Puxatawny, and it's always February 2nd, and I can't turn it off. If you still don't believe me, listen.
But Phil.
Listen, in 10 seconds, Larry is going to walk through that door and take you away from me.
Larry?
But you can't let him. Please believe me. You've got to believe me.
I don't.
Larry pokes his head in the doorway, looks around, and spots Rita.
Look.
As Rita turns around to see Larry, Phil grabs a pen and pad from a passing waitress and quickly writes down something as Larry makes his way to the table. Phil finishes writing.
You ready? We better get going if we're gonna stay ahead of the weather.
Phil hands the paper to Rita. She reads it.
Stay ahead of the weather.
Larry looks down at the paper.
What's that?
Rita looks at Phil with new understanding and empathy. Cut 2. Exterior, Puxatawny, day. Phil and Rita are walking down the sidewalk.
After I got over the shock, it was kind of fun for the first year or two. I had anything I wanted, except you, of course.
Phil abruptly pulls Rita aside. A big pile of snow slides off the roof and onto the sidewalk where they have walked. Phil doesn't even look up. Rita looks as if seeing a miracle.
How did this start?
I don't know. I just woke up, just like always.
Hey, Phil! Phil Connors!
Rita, this is Ned Ryerson. He's an asshole.
He remembers me!
Phil and Rita keep walking. Rita looks back at Ned, perplexed.
Trust me on that one.
Cut 2. Exterior, fudge shop, day. Phil and Rita come out of the shop, sharing pieces of fudge.
This is great.
No, it isn't. You hate fudge.
Just how well do we know each other?
I told you, I know everybody.
Did we ever,
Did we ever? You were an animal.
Come on.
You're European trained, aren't you?
Phil, it's not funny.
You weren't interested.
Okay. Not that it would have been so awful.
I understand.
I just had to know whether or not to smack you.
You did.
Good.
Cut 2. Exterior, park, day. Phil and Rita are sitting on a park bench.
So do you believe any of this?
I don't know. I don't know how else you can know so much. Maybe it is really happening.
I used to try to stay up all night sometimes. I thought if I could stay conscious, I could figure out what was going on or at least hang on to something from the day before. But I gave up on that a long time ago.
Rita looks at him with compassion.
It sounds so lonely.
Yeah, it's not that bad. You get used to it.
Rita comes to a decision.
Maybe I should spend the rest of the day with you, just as an objective witness, just to see what happens. Okay?
Yeah, sure, that'd be okay.
Cut 2. Interior, Phil's room, night. A hat is lying on Phil's bed. A playing card flies past. Second card sails right into the hat. Another playing card sails past, missing. Another playing card sails right in. Phil and Rita are tossing cards. Rita is missing. Phil is hitting.
It's not in the wrist so much as the fingers. Be the hat.
It would take me a year to get good at this.
6 months, 4 or 5 hours a day.
Is this what you do with eternity?
Now you know it's like waiting for a bus that never comes. You should see me play pool, and bowling, and juggling, hacky sack. I can ride a unicycle.
There's a knock on the door.
I'll get it.
Phil jumps for the door and opens it. The pizza guy is there.
Hi, Marty. 11.65, including the delivery charge, right?
Phil pays him, takes the pizza, and closes the door.
Pepperoni and olives, my favorite.
Of course, I told you I know everything.
I don't think I'd want to know everything that's gonna happen. I like to be surprised.
That's not the worst part.
What's the worst part?
The worst part is starting over every day. Tomorrow you won't remember any of this. You'll go back to treating me like I'm a complete jerk.
No.
It's not your fault. I am a jerk.
No, you're not.
Okay, I'm not. It really doesn't make a lot of difference. I've killed myself so many times I don't even exist anymore. I'm just completely empty.
Or completely clean.
If you're going to be this positive all the time, I may have to rough you up a little.
Wait, have we done this before?
Which part?
You getting me up here, the card game, the pizza?
No, this is the first time.
Well,
what?
Well, how does it feel to be doing something completely new?
Phil looks at her with tremendous affection and gratitude.
Good. Really good.
He takes a slice of pizza and starts eating with gusto. Dissolve 2. The pizza box later. There's only one slice left. Phil and Rita sitting together on the bed. Close, but not touching. Soft music is playing on the radio.
Sometimes I wish I had 1,000 lifetimes. One to be a great journalist. One to, I don't know, go back to school, study art or auto mechanics. One just to take care of all of the busy work, pay the bills, get my car tuned up. One to be the wild woman of Borneo. Maybe one to be Mother Teresa. Maybe it's not a curse, Phil. It's all just depends on how you look at it.
Phil stares at her for a long time, letting this sink in. Then he belches really loudly. Rita stares at him, then burps, surprisingly loud herself.
I want you to know it's been a really nice day for me.
Me too.
Maybe if it's not too boring for you, we could do it again.
I hope so.
The clock reads 11:59. Rita grabs Phil's hand. He puts his arm around her. They look into each other's eyes. Rita gives Phil a reassuring smile. She squeezes his hand. Their eyes turn to the clock. 11:59 turns to 12 a.m. Rita looks up at Phil as if expecting some magical event.
You're still here.
I know.
I thought you were supposed to disappear or was I, or something.
Not till 6.
You rat.
She is mad in a playful way.
I never said midnight.
You knew I was waiting for midnight.
But I never said it.
Oh, I can't believe you. I didn't know this was going to take all night.
Does that mean you're going?
No.
Phil takes Rita's hand. She doesn't resist. Dissolve 2, later. Rita is now sitting right next to Phil on the bed, Red resting on his shoulder. She nods off and catches herself.
I'm sorry.
It's okay to go to sleep, I promise I won't touch you. Much. Ugh.
No, it's all right. I'm not tired. What were you saying?
Her eyes start to close again.
I was saying the cow was eventually returned to its rightful owner.
Really?
That's right.
He looks at her, sees she's truly asleep, and gently maneuvers her into a comfortable reclining position on the bed. Then he carefully puts the pillow under her head and settles down next to her.
What I was going to say is I think that you're the kindest, sweetest, prettiest, most wonderful girl I ever met in my life.
She starts to stir, but he gently kisses her back to sleep.
Shh, that's good. I can never tell you this, but for the first minute I looked at you, I wanted to just hold you close and be with you forever. Every time I saw you around the station, I thought my heart was going to explode. I used to dream about us being together. In my dream, you loved me just as much as I loved you, and we didn't have to say anything, but I knew you understood everything.
She stirs again, but he kisses her until she returns to deep sleep.
I know a guy like me can never deserve to have someone like you, but if I did, I swear I would love you for the rest of my life.
Rita opens her eyes.
Did you say something?
Good night, Rita.
He kisses her gently on the forehead.
Good night, Phil.
Close up, the clock. The time changes from 5:59 to 6 a.m. The radio starts playing. Phil wakes up alone in bed. He lies there for a moment, then leaps out of bed with like a new man reborn, and heads straight for the shower. Cut to Sear, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. Rita and Larry are in the packed press area, beginning to set up equipment. Phil arrives, carrying 2 cups of coffee.
Rita!
She looks at him without trace of the rapport they shared the night before.
Oh, hi, Phil.
Thought you might like some...
He hands her the coffee.
Thanks.
Careful, it's hot. Larry?
He hands Larry a cup.
Yeah, great.
We're just setting up.
You know, I bumped into Buster Green. He kind of runs this thing, and he tipped me off that we might get a better shot over there.
Really?
I mean, maybe we should go for it. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. Larry?
Sure, why not?
All right. Thanks, Phil. Good work.
She reaches for an equipment case.
I'll get that.
Phil helps Larry carry the gear.
You and I never talk, Larry. You got kids?
Larry looks suspicious. Rita looks on, reevaluating Phil. Cut to interior library, day. Phil enters the library, approaches the librarian.
Where would I find the philosophy section?
Down and to the left, 600s.
Phil walks through the stacks past the Groundhog window. Cut to exterior, a house, day. Phil rings the doorbell. A kindly young woman, Mary, answers.
Yes?
I'd like a piano lesson, please.
Oh, okay. I'm with a student now, but
I'll give you $1,000.
Mary hesitates only a moment, then ushers Phil in the house and closes the door. A moment later, the door opens, and a little girl with an armful of music book exits as she is pushed. The door closes behind her. Cut to interior, hallway, dawn. Phil walks happily down the hallway. He passes the chubby man.
Morning.
Buongiorno, signore.
Think it'll be an early spring?
Winter, slumbering in the open air, wears on his smiling face a dream of spring.
Oh.
Cut to interior, Mary's house, day. Phil and Mary are sitting together on the piano. Phil is playing poorly.
not bad, Mr. Connors. You say this is your first lesson?
Technically, yes.
Phil plays on, definitely improving. Cut to interior library, day. We see several cuts of Phil studying in the library. Super over these cuts, the calendar with the pages flipping by. They all read February 2nd. Cut to exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. Phil stands in front of the camera, giving his report.
In fact, the Groundhog's legendary ability to predict the weather may be more than just the German folklore of the region. Higher temperatures trigger hormonal changes in the testosterone levels of male groundhogs, which may in fact wake them from hibernation and send them out to battle with other males for mating rights. So the truth is, they're not looking for their own shadows, they're looking for groundhog chicks.
Rita looks on, clearly delighted by the report. Cut to interior, Mary's house. Phil is playing the piano with ever-increasing skills as more February 2nd calendar pages slip by. Cut to exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. Phil is delivering another report.
Groundhog Day, February 2nd, also known as Candlemas Day or the Feast of the Purification of the Virgin Mary, the day Mary first came to the temple for ritual blessings following the birth of the infant Jesus, and celebrated since the Middle Ages by the sacramental lighting of candles. Hence the old Scottish couplet, which long predates the American's groundhog tradition. If Candlemas dawns bright and clear, there'll be 2 winters in the year.
Larry whispers an aside to Rita.
Is he making this stuff up?
Cut 2. Exterior, cemetery, day. Beyond the graveyard is an old work shed with various tombstones. Old Tucker, the town stone carver, is at work chiseling a name into the grave marker. Behind him, Phil is chipping away at the small chunk of marble, scoping a very lovely cherub. Rita sits on a stool eating an apple and sipping hot tea, watching him with amazed interest.
But what if the rules changed? What if none of your actions had consequences?
There would still be an absolute morality. There has to be an absolute good, regardless of the circumstances.
Oh, is that so, Miss Plato? Then let me ask you this. Where does this absolute good come from? From the sky?
Rita shrugs.
I don't know, from my freshman philosophy course, I guess.
They both laugh. Then she looks at him with a long moment and grins.
What?
Nothing. I just can't believe you're such a fine sculptor.
Phil takes a bite of her apple and gets up.
I gotta go.
Where do you have to go in Punxsutawney?
I got piano and then drums.
Here?
Come on, I'll drop you off.
The exit. Cut 2. Exterior, Main Street, later. Phil drops Rita off and watches as he crosses the street to Larry, who is waiting on the other side. Across the street, Rita takes a blissful glance towards Phil, then gets in the news van and drives off. Phil gets out of the car and starts walking, but finds himself face to face with Ned Ryerson.
Phil? Phil Connors? I thought that was you.
Ned? Ned Ryerson? I don't believe it. I've missed you so much.
Phil gives Ned a big hug, keeps holding on to him for an uncomfortably long time, actually giving Ned a hickey on his neck. Ned goes into a homophobic shock.
I gotta get going. Nice to see you, Phil.
He hurries off. Cut 2. Interior, Mary's house, day. Phil is sitting on the piano bench with Mary, playing pretty well. Mary is astonished.
How long have you been studying, Mr. Connors?
One day, I'm gifted.
Cut 2. Exterior, street, day. Phil is walking down the street. He glances down the alley as he passes, stops, walks back, and enters the alley. The old bum that Phil never knows before is lying there, huddled against the wall. Phil goes to help him.
Hey, mister. Hey, come on. Let's get you somewhere warm.
The old bum turns to Phil, then closes his eyes.
There you go.
Phil practically carries him out of the alley. Cut 2. Interior, hospital emergency room, night. A nurse approaches Phil.
You the one who brought in the old man?
How is he?
He passed away just now.
Phil pauses for a long moment.
What did he die of?
He was just old. It was his time.
I want to see his chart. Excuse me.
Phil presses past her and makes for the big double doors, leading to Taraj.
Sir, you can't. Look, some people just die.
Not on my watch.
Cut 2. Interior, diner morning. Phil is propping up the old man on the table, trying to feed him hot soup. Cut 2. Interior, hospital. Phil is feverishly looking over x-rays, flipping through medical journals, and making notes. Cut 2. Exterior, alley, night. Phil is in the alley, shaking the old man, trying to rouse him.
Hang on there. Breathe.
Phil stops. The body lies, unmoving. Phil sits back, breathing heavily. Cut 2. Exterior, Gobbler's Knob, dawn. Phil is delivering his report. Everyone there is silent, listening to Phil. Even the other reporters have turned their cameras on him.
When Chekhov saw the long winter, it was a winter bleak and dark and bereft of hope. And yet, we know winter's only one more step in the cycle. And standing amongst the people of Punxsutawney, basking in the warmth of their hearths and hearts, I couldn't imagine a better fate than a long and lustrous winter.
Phil smiles. Rita smiles too.
For Channel 9's news, I'm Phil Connors.
There is much applause. Even Larry brushes away a tear. Phil hands the microphone to Rita.
Phil,
Sorry, I'm gonna be late.
Late for what? Phil? Larry, could you break it down and wrap it out here by yourself?
Sure.
Thanks.
Rita rushes off after Phil. Cut to exterior street corner day. Phil walks driftily toward an intersection, glancing nervously over his watch. Rita follows him at a distance, hurrying to keep up. Marie, a little 9-year-old girl, approaches the intersection, shielding her brand new puppy under her undercoat. She isn't paying attention to the traffic and fails to notice a big truck bearing down on her. As he steps off the curb, Phil arrives and with split-second timing, nonchalantly but firmly grabs her coat to hold her back, just as the big truck rushes past in the street, narrowly missing her.
Hey, did you forget to look both ways? You didn't even look one way.
My doggy was cold.
Yeah, well, my doggies are freezing, but I'm still gonna watch out for cars. See you around, kid.
Phil looks at his watch and rushes off. Rita looks on, amazed, and follows him at a distance. Cut to interior, Burkhoff restaurant, day. Phil enters the crowded restaurant and pushes back, all the people waiting to be seated. He walks fast, casually, but quickly and purposely around the table, squeezing past busy waitresses and seated patrons toward the commotion in the back of the restaurant. 2 businessmen are leaning over a third.
Oh my God,
he's having a heart attack.
Lay him down.
What do I do? He's not breathing.
He's turning blue. Help. Phil walks straight up to the blue-faced man, grabs him from behind, gets him in the Heimlich grip, and squeezes sharply. A bunch of food flies across the room. The victim coughs and sputters and starts breathing again.
Jerry, you okay?
I think I did it. Phil lets go of the grateful victim.
If you're going to eat steak, get better teeth, will you? Enjoy the rest of your lunch, gents.
He exits.
Wow, who was that guy?
Phil gets to the door and finds Rita standing there, looking at him in awe.
Rita!
Okay, hold it right there. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know right now.
I'm sorry, I'm really pressed right now. Meet me outside the hospital about 5 o'clock and we'll talk about it.
The hospital?
Phil looks at his watch and rushes away.
Try the curly Q fries. Killer.
Cut to interior hospital quarter later. A gurney bursts through the double doors, paramedics and nurse in attendance. The patient is a teenage girl, Janie, totally unconscious. Interior, emergency room, continuous. The gurney is wheeled into surgery.
Looks like insulin shock. She's probably diabetic.
Phil enters wearing a doctor's scrub suit and begins barking orders.
She's not diabetic. It's an overdose. Let's get her up here and pump her stomach. Then I want a complete blood workup. Stat.
Right, doctor.
She realizes she's never seen him before.
Call me Phil.
Phil, like the Groundhog.
Exactly.
Cut to interior children's ward late afternoon. 6 children in a hospital gown are gathered around Phil, laughing and squealing. Phil is making balloon animals. Make a giraffe.
A giraffe. Let's see. It's just like a dog with a big. What was it?
Neck.
A big tail. Okay, a big tail.
Neck. A big neck. Phil makes an animal really quickly. Rita watches from the doorway, unseen by Phil.
There, a dog with long legs.
No, long neck.
Oh, right, a dog with a big head.
No. The kids attack Phil, lots of rolling around the floor. Rita watches, completely enthralled. Finally, Phil extricates himself and exits to find Rita waiting.
All right, now what's going on?
Come on, we have to hurry.
Cut to exterior residential street a little later. Phil rushes down the sidewalk with Rita close behind him. He stops under the tree and puts his arm out just as the young boy falls out of the tree and into his arms, knocking him to the ground. The kid runs off unhurt as Phil gets back to his feet and brushes himself off.
That little bastard has never thanked me once. I ought to just let him fall, teach him a lesson.
Phil, this is too. I must be dreaming.
Yeah, you and me both. Come on, we're almost done.
Cut 2. Exterior alley. Phil kneels on the hard, cold ground beside the old bum who lies huddled against the wall, immobile. Rita is standing by at the end of the alley, watching as Phil examines him. Phil writes up and down on a small pad. He finishes and sets it down by the old man. Then he takes his coat and uses it to cover the man up. A siren is heard. Phil stands and walks away. Has the ambulance pulled in the alley?
Is he?
Yeah, let's go.
In a minute.
She waits and watches. The paramedics, Bud and Andy, get out of the ambulance and inspect the scene.
I believe I'm Andy.
Probably Bud. Oh, really?
That's a shame.
Look here. Bud picks up the note. Phil left. Rita steps closer.
May I see that? Every night by Coldberg's glow, I watch the shadow rising and this old man in the snow. At 8:02, we let it go.
At 8:02, we let it go.
Wow, that's nice. Rita hands the note and quickly walks away.
Suppose he wrote it?
Are you kidding me? Cut 2. Exterior Main Street. Night. Rita catches up with Phil outside the Pennsylvania, town's oldest and best hotel.
Now what?
Come on, you'll see.
They enter. Cut 2. Interior hotel lobby continuous. As Phil and Rita enter, there is music coming from the side room. The black velvet announcement board proclaims Lester Scott wedding. Cut 2. Interior party room continuous. Phil and Rita walk into the banquet room decorated with streamers, balloons, and flowers. There is a long buffet table and a punch bowl. Another long table is loaded with wedding gifts. A small band is playing. People are dancing. The wedding party is dressed in rented tuxedos and appropriately poofy bridesmaid dresses.
This is incredible. Whose wedding is this?
Phil grabs 2 glasses of champagne and hands one to Rita.
Just some friends. Doris.
The bride, Doris, young and cheery, is on her way to see Phil. She's dragging Fred, her groom, with her.
Hi, Mr.
Hi.
Connors. Go.
Go ahead.
Come on, Freddie.
Hi.
This is the guy I told you about.
No way.
How's it going, Fred?
Hey, I'd like to thank you for making Doris go through with this.
Are you kidding? Don't buy that plain hard to get stuff. She's crazy about you, you stud.
I'm really glad you could come.
Congratulations.
Phil reaches into his pocket, pulls out 2 tickets, and hands them to Doris.
What's this? Oh, no way! No way! Ah!
Doris throws herself on Fred and jumps up and down. Fred grabs the tickets. WrestleMania? No way! No way! Doris throws herself on Phil.
How did you know?
We're going to be in Pittsburgh anyways.
I don't know. I just thought about you to try to picture what you'd want to do more than anything in the world. And when it came to me, bing, WrestleMania.
Thanks, Mr. Connors. You're a real pal.
This is the best.
Doris gives Phil a kiss. She and Fred move on.
I don't understand. You rush from one person to the next in town and you only visit once a year? You know everything before it happens and I don't know, you seem to be Puxatawny's leading citizen.
The band finishes the set. The guests stop dancing and head for refreshment. Phil and Rita are left alone for the moment.
What do you want to know?
Who are you?
I really don't know.
No, there's something going on with you.
Okay, I wake up in Puxatawny on February 2nd every day. It's supernatural. I don't even try to explain it anymore, so I live every day if it's the only day I got.
Rita stares in his eyes for a long time, but sees only good, true things.
That's pretty amazing.
You want to know what's really amazing? I've been waiting for you every day for 10,000 years. I dream of you every night of my life. You've been my constant weapon against total despair, and just knowing you exist has kept me alive. How's that?
Rita can't even speak. This is clearly the nicest thing anybody has ever said to anybody. Mary, the piano teacher, notices Phil.
Phil! This is the guy.
Hello, Mary. Rita, this is one of Puxatawny's finest musicians.
Give me a break. You should talk. Why don't you play us something?
No, I can't.
Please.
Hey, Mr. Connors, go for it. Phil looks at Rita. She nods and shrugs. Phil walks up the platform and sits at the piano. He begins to play a slow, serious classical piece. Everyone falls silent. It's so beautiful. Rita is almost in tears. And after a pause to let the serious notes sink in, Phil transformed the piece into a fast, lively, upbeat jazz romp. Everyone is delighted. As the rest of the band kicks in, everyone grabs a partner and begins to dance. And Uncle Leo grabs Rita, and two of them dance up a storm.
That's a great guy you've got there. Dr. Connors fixed my back, you know.
Dr. Connors.
Rita looks over at Phil, joyously playing the piano. Cut 2. Exterior, street, night. It's snowing lightly. Phil and Rita are walking slowly, arm in arm, close. They stop and embrace. Phil looks at Rita. She looks like an angel.
Wait, don't move.
Phil scoots up some snow and begins packing it down, fiercely, joyously, then rolling into a large ball.
Making a snowman? I'll help.
No, stay there. Stand right there.
Phil lifts a now large chunk of packed snow and sets it on a mailbox. Then he looks at her and starts to sculpt it. Dissolve 2, later. Phil is using a stick in the heat of his bare hands to model a delicate fold in the snow sculpture. Several passersby look on with interest as Phil stands back from his work.
Can I look?
Okay, look.
There is an excellent likeness of Rita, the snow white as alabaster, pure as marble, a beautiful and delicate homage.
Oh, nobody's ever done this for me. Not even a drawing. It's beautiful.
This is how I see you. When it all gets too much, I just close my eyes and there you are, just like this. Take it home and keep it in the freezer.
Rita embraces Phil. They're about to kiss, looking deep into each other's eyes.
This one's for the Frog Prince.
What?
Nothing.
They kiss, a long, deep, soul-stirring kiss.
Will you come with me?
Rita nods. They continue standing there, embracing, warming each other in the cold night air.
We're just gonna leave her?
It doesn't matter, really, it doesn't.
They kiss again. Cut 2. Close up, the clock. The digital radio clock changes from 5:59 to 6 a.m. Silence. No Sonny and Cher. No DJs. Nothing. Joe sits in the bed, looks around the room. Things are different, messier. He sees the covers move, wide-eyed. Now, he looks over and sees Rita waking up, snogging deep under the covers.
It's not true. It's not. It can't be true. Rita? Rita?
Morning.
Phil
pounces on Rita, showering her with kisses.
You're here. My God, I can't believe you're here.
Glad to see you too.
No, it's happened. Don't you get it? It's tomorrow. It's.
Phil turns on the radio.
Still shoveling, put the highways, but if you're walking, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, the snow kind of cleaned everything up.
Except your mouth.
Phil kisses the radio.
I love these guys.
Are you always this jolly in the morning?
Phil runs to the window and looks out. His POV, the street. The street is virtually empty. The town just waking up. Kids are throwing snowballs.
No groundhog, Rita. They're all gone.
You must have had some dream.
Phil stops, thinks.
Did I just dream it?
Phil opens the door and runs into the hallway, wearing only pajama bottoms.
Phil!
Rita sits up in bed and waits. Suddenly, from somewhere else in the inn comes the sound of Phil at the piano, expertly playing a difficult classical piece. He stops after a few bars.
Yeah!
Phil runs back into the room.
It really happened. You're really here.
He pounces on Rita again.
You're really actually here.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here.
They kiss passionately, hungrily.
Let's go.
He scoops her up in his arms.
Where are we going?
Anywhere, everywhere.
Cut to interior breakfast room. Phil and Rita, dressed now, enter and encounter Miss Lancaster. Phil hugs her.
Oh my.
Florence, say hello to Rita. She loves me.
I'm not surprised.
He kisses her on the cheek and rushes out with Rita. Exterior of the street, day. Phil and Rita walk down Main Street, hand in hand. Phil, good morning.
Mr. Connors, I wanted to thank you.
That's all right.
A florist steps out with a out of the flower shop with a bouquet.
Phil, here, I just want you to have these.
Thanks, Carl.
Phil smells the flowers and hands the bouquet to Rita.
And so began my final lifetime and ended the longest winter on record. I would find myself no longer able to affect the chain of events in this town, but I did learn something about time. You can waste time, you can kill time, you can do time, but if you use it wisely, there's never enough of it. So you'd better make the most of the time you've got.
The car skids on the ice and smashes into the tree. Phil and Rita rush over to help, but the driver waves that he's okay. Rita and Phil continue their walk.
Larry never got through the blizzard, so none of my Groundhog reports ever made it to air. But Rita and we lived happily ever after.
Phil and Rita walk off together. Across the street, Larry is trying to get rid of Ned Ryerson, who is doggedly trying to sell him insurance.
But Phil told me you were his accountant.
Look, I told you, he's nuts.
Larry keeps trying to walk away, but Ned won't leave him alone.
Let me just tell you about a single premium life.
Finally, Larry slugs Ned and storms off, leaving Ned floundering in the snowbank. Phil and Rita walk on as we pull up and away from Main Street, revealing the whole Puxatawny and the snowy countryside that embraces it. The end.
Nice.
I feel like this ending really earned it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it was really 10,000 years for him?
Yeah, I read this article that like someone who just had no time just like calculated how long it would take to like master all of these tasks and everything, and they said it was like about like maybe longer than that.
It was like 1,020. Yeah, I read that same article. It was like to get good at like be a piano master, you have to do this. To learn how to sculpt ice, you have to like put in at least as many hours. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty wild. And like having the script here and like without any edits, without cutting out like that voodoo ritual and
Yeah.
plenty of stuff like that voiceover at the end. There's a lot of stuff that wasn't there, and with the context that you have, it's a lot more rich. But there's like early on, I think after the third DJ spiel, he's just like, yeah, I've been doing it this is day 200, and it was only like the third day for the audience at least. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's like it's way different than the like actual like finished movie. It was
Yeah.
I was really not expecting it.
Yeah, the ritual is so weird.
I know.
It just kind of felt unnecessary because they never touched on it again. They never explained why the cycle was broken.
That's the thing. They never did, and then like they just kind of went to a different theory at the end. Just be like, oh, so you think he was purgatory? Oh, you're God. Oh, you're immortal. Would you do this if this was a?
Like,
they didn't
no,
even
it's just this
mention the
jealous
curse.
hoe back home.
Yeah.
Oh, you learned your lesson, and
Hi,
finally you're a
Nick.
decent human who considers
Nick.
other people
Yeah.
before yourself.
Hi.
Great. It
Yeah.
took you 10,000 years.
1,000 years.
I heard.
Fuck.
I heard Bill Murray's still that difficult though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start over again.
Yeah, let's start
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
To
my
get
kids
in
are
the
really
real
good at
spirit
that.
of Groundhog Day.
Okay.
How come Mom's not here? Well, she's reading Groundhog Day again.
Next, we'll do Magic
Sweet
Mike,
dreams.
and we have to act out the dance scenes.
No, I have. Yeah. This really reading it over really reminds you of when it was made. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of
Seriously.
the-
So
It was like
chauvinistic.
written late
It
80s.
goes into a
Come on.
homophobic
mid early
terror.
90s.
Yeah.
That was a special line.
There was a couple, that was like, there was a
Yeah.
couple
He
lines in there. That I'm
smacks
like,
the lady's
Jesus.
ass.
Yeah, he gooses her.
How
Yeah,
can I
Fun.
manipulate time to
to get laid.
press women?
Oh, yeah, totally. It's
Oh, and then it's like describing a woman in a bar as like a local slut.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Like, my God.
It's definitely Harold Ramis.
Jesus Christ.
I definitely felt weird reading some of this description. I'm like, wow.
Zach really loved that one line about being a sex slave. Wasn't
I
that it?
know.
I
I was
hate
like, oh
this
my
line.
God.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he prefaced it with like, I really like this line.
I don't like
Oh, want to be my?
I wish we could see what Raimi would do
Favorite
now,
line
though. With like, if he had the same concept, I'd really love to see what he would do with it now.
Yeah.
honestly, yeah.
50 First Dates.
And you can definitely tell it's like a
Oh, I
second
wanna find it.
draft. A lot of that stuff is.
Well, I think
Cleaned
the
up and
script was
polished
written
off.
by. I think this person.
Danny Rubin.
Yeah, Danny
Like
Rubin. I
Harold
think wrote.
Ramis.
Oh, Ruben wrote. Okay.
Okay.
And then Ramis, and
Ramis revised
he must
it,
have edited it, but was Ivan Reitman the director for this?
I think
I can't
Harold
remember.
Ramis was the
No,
director.
Oh, he's the director
it's a
too?
Ramis
Yeah, I
movie.
think so.
I'm pretty sure Cha Cha was the director.
I don't think that's true though.
Was Cha Cha around
Uh,
in '92?
no, no.
I am maybe she's going through a time loop. I'm sorry I stole a bunch of lines. I just hate awkward silences.
It
Oh, you're
is.
good. That was good.
That was
Also,
good.
It worked out great.
hello.
Yeah, it
and
needed to
goodbye,
happen.
everyone. I had so much fun.
Abby,
Um,
your voice is amazing. If you're not already like pursuing a career doing audiobooks, babe, you should consider it.
Good
I just
read.
wanted to lean in and hear more. I
I
loved it.
mean, your old lady impression was just like,
I had to check. I was like, so did somebody else? Oh, it's Kima.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think Nick nailed Larry right there.
No, Nick was.
He
that was-
upped the skeevy.
that
like
was
it's
a
just.
choice for
Yeah.
real.
What was the actor's name?
And
Dennis.
then I was like, oh, he's gonna. No, he leaned in. He did it the whole way through.
yeah,
The whole way.
Oh,
He
yeah.
held
he
on to
kept
it.
he was really able to marinate in that one role the whole time.
Yeah.
So long, everyone.
Bye, Abby.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.
This was
Peace,
fun.
y'all.
That was fun,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks, everybody.
Peace.
So
Thanks
much.
for organizing this,
everybody.
Tim.
Meg,
Yeah,
big
thank
hug
you.
coming you.
Thanks for
Ah,
everyone
I'm
watching
hugging
too
you
and shit.
hard, baby.
Oh,
Peace.